We are thrilled to be here. Looking forward to the next, 3 out of 4 days. Lonzo and I will be out on Wednesday as we were discussing just mere minutes before the show started. Getting a concerned look, so I'm assuming we have technical difficulties already.
Oh, no, I thought about something. So in order for your audio to be on the stream, I think it has to be in utility. And if so, that will feed you back.
I'll fix it tomorrow.
Really?
I'm going to get through it. Because
really? Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it, but I'm going to work through it because unlike other radio show hosts, I can speak in a British accent. That's not why, but it just felt really good to say that on the radio.
Well, you let me know if it gets intolerable. We'll just take it out and take the stream down.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're going to make it through. So we are going to be here for the next 4 days. The Fan Upstate's going to be here for the next 4 days. I will be here today. I will be here tomorrow. And then I will be here on Thursday, the final day of ACC Media Days. That is the day that Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers will be here. We do have some other teams, obviously, every day between here and there. We do have the Seminoles of Florida State, who will be the featured team today. We do have Georgia Tech, SMU, making their debut at SEC Media Days today as well. Just 3 teams on the docket today. FSU will bat leadoff, then Georgia Tech and SMU. Tomorrow's teams, and we will be back here tomorrow as well. Cal, Pitt, Stanford, Virginia, and Virginia Tech will be the Tuesday lineup. We will not be here, unfortunately, on Wednesday. Lonzo and I had, how do we make it sound very fancy? We had a previous engagement scheduled already for Tuesday night that we're not going to miss Wednesday work because of. Shut up. Nobody asked you for your judgment, listening audience. So we will not be here Wednesday, but here is the good news. You will be covered nonetheless, because joining us here in Charlotte, North Carolina, starting this afternoon, as well as tomorrow and Wednesday, Cole Bryson and Diesel will be here for Wire to Wire. They will be here today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. It'll all be shut down by the time that they go on Thursday. So they will not be here Thursday afternoon. So you get Rob Brown and Lonzo today, tomorrow, and Thursday. You get Cole Bryan and Diesel today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And it's going to be interesting, a little bit different. For those of you that have been with us in ACC Media Days gone by, this year's going to be a little bit different for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, Zoe and I are in a new time slot. We're on in the mornings. The last couple of media days, I have been on either 12 to 3 or 9 to noon. The majority of the athlete interviews that are one-on-one with the radio station, the majority of those interviews take place during the afternoon, the late morning and early afternoon hours. So we will not have any live interviews on the show today. That is the unfortunate part. The good news is that we will have a bunch of interviews after the show is concluded. And what that will allow me to do is record those, tape those, run those back for you the next day on the show, as well as post them on our social media pages. So if you have not yet followed the Fan Upstate on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, today is not just a wonderful day to do it. Today's the best day to do it because there are other things going on. I got to stand up for a second, Alonzo, because I got some new stuff. I'll show you one of the things that I got because I am an influencer millennial. Before I left the house, great one, I went and got myself this little connector mic that goes to my phone, right? and then it's got these little lapel mics, and I can hear up to 100 feet away, which means that we'll be going live like off and on throughout the day as we have different interviews, as we have different coaches coming by, as we have different players coming by. And of course, aside from them coming down to do their interviews one-on-one here on Radio Row, where we are currently located, obviously in the big banquet room, you will have head coaches, you will have players giving their state the union for their each and in every individual school. And I will do my best to go live for the big ones there as well. Again, Clemson is being featured on Thursday alongside North Carolina, NC State, and Syracuse. And then, of course, we have, as mentioned, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and SMU today. We have got Cal, Pitt, Stanford, Virginia Tech tomorrow. And on Wednesday, Boston College, Duke, Miami, and Wake Forest. So that is your schedule. As I have mentioned a couple of times, we will be live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Diesel and Cole, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The majority of the interviews will be taped betwixt the two shows. So you will hear some of them that will air live, debut on Wire to Wire in the afternoons. You will hear some of them that will be played the next day back here on the Rob Brown Show. So we are going to have as much as we can for you over the next 4 days. It is going to be a tremendous time as the ACC gets its Media Days, or as they call it, their football kickoff celebration underway. And here is what I will say, great one. I am largely intrigued because I don't know. I know Lonzo's heard this. I don't know how many of y'all in the Armada have heard this. Do y'all know Clemson and the ACC have two big lawsuits going against each other? Have you heard that before, Lonzo? Has that broken news in Greenville, South Carolina? It's been a long time since I've been there.
Sounds vaguely familiar, like I've heard it on a show or something.
I'm sipping my tea right now. Yeah, there's a big lawsuit going down right now in Charlotte. As a matter of fact, yesterday when I pulled into town, hilariously, when I got here yesterday, I pulled off the interstate as I was heading to our hotel. We are not staying in the hotel where ACC Media Days is taking place. We are staying in a hotel that is like across the street. But as I pulled off the interstate and pulled off towards my hotel, when I got off the interstate, do you know? And I've never seen it before. You know what the first building that I saw when I got off the interstate was? The Mecklenburg County Courthouse. That is the venue of the lawsuit between Clemson and the Atlantic Coast Conference, as well, obviously, as the lawsuit between Florida State and the Athletic Coast Conference. But I thought that a wee bit telling, and I'm really interested to see what this is like, great one, because this is kind of like, and you always come back on this show. We always compare everything to food and relationships, right? The two universal factors. It's kind of like if you're going through a nasty breakup, it's kind of like if you and your lady kind of hit the splits, you know it's over, you're going your separate ways, and then you both catch an invite to a mutual friend's birthday party. You both got to go. You both got to be there, right? It's not your buddy's fault y'all are breaking up. And so you go to the party and you get there and you walk in and she's standing there across the room and she looks good. And she was going to be there looking good. So you put on your best duds, right? You put on your best Sunday outfit. You walk into the party. You're like, I look good. I look good today. And then you see her. She looks good today. And then you both spend the entire party like circling the outside of the room, trying to not talk to each other. Here's what I'm saying, great one. I can't say that there's an awkward feeling in the air here because obviously Clemson doesn't show up until Thursday, A, and B, because there's 3 people in this gigantic ballroom that I'm in right now. There's me and 2 other guys doing a show on the other side of the room. So I can't say there's any like weird feeling in the air yet. I can say when it is time for Dabo Swinney to step in front of the media pit here and do his interviews with radio personalities that aren't our two competitors to my left and my right, as I am currently wedged right in the middle of our two competitors. When it's time for him to do interviews with Virginia Tech Radio or the Louisville Courier Journal or 680 The Fan or Fox Sports Charlotte or, I don't know, War Chant over there. Well, actually, they'll probably be on Team Dabo, but on any ESPN Richmond, on any of these other outlets that represent other schools that, let's call a spade a spade. If Clemson and Florida State, and then I assume North Carolina and Miami would follow suit, if they find their way out, I'm looking at radio stations here that represent college football teams around the Atlantic seaboard and Texas and California, because that's how geography works. I'm looking at radio stations from around the country that cover football teams, though, that if Charlotte, FSU, North Carolina, and Miami get their way, could find themselves as early as next season without a conference to play in, or in a conference that I think at that point, and let me whisper this in case anybody's here, will be irrelevant. It'll be irrelevant. Without Clemson, without Florida State, without North Carolina, and without Miami, the ACC becomes irrelevant. Like it will have, to me, and this is how dramatic it feels, and correct me if I'm overshooting the target here, Zoe, the ACC without Florida State, without Clemson, without Miami, without North Carolina, and I'm going to go ahead and say, I think the legislature in North Carolina will do everything in their damn power to force NC State with North Carolina, maybe NC State and Duke, to go together. And I think that you will end up potentially losing one, if not both, of those schools as well. If that happens, the teams that are left, Stanford, SMU, Pitt, Virginia Tech, maybe a little less threat. I think Virginia Tech would get picked up somewhere. Syracuse, Cal. I'm like looking at the banners around the room right now. If these schools are left in a conference without the lawsuit schools, great one, to me, the ACC will have the same relevance as the Pac-2 does right now.
Yeah, I was just, when you're talking about this, I was thinking about how lonely that room would be. It's lonely now because, people just aren't in there yet. Think of, that was a fun noise. Think of the Pac-2's media day.
Wait,
I
don't have to think about it. Did you not see the coverage of Pac-2 Media Day?
I did not. What did they do it in someone's room or something?
Pretty close. Let me tell you, because I did not only see it, but I saw pictures of it on social, and then I was like, obviously I'm going straight to their YouTube page to watch it. Pac-2 Media Day, great one, was held entirely in one night, in one ballroom of one hotel. They brought out the two coaches. Each school brought, I think, 4 players. And in order to kill time at Pac-2 Media Day, which was not great, they brought out the mascots for the both teams that are in it and had them do like mascot skits. But because they had rented this ballroom, and right, when you rent a ballroom at a hotel owner like this, like you're renting it for a minimum amount of time and you're paying for it. To justify the media day, they did the coaches' interviews, the players' interviews, mascot stuff, and then they said, by the way, guys, open bar the rest of the night. Y'all have a good night. See you at football season. And that was it. Like, legit, it was like 3 hours of head coaches, players, and mascots, and then it just was an open bar wedding reception for the rest of the night. And don't get me wrong, kind of sounds awesome, to be honest with you. You told me I was going to a hotel to watch mascots dance and an open bar party. I am all in, but that is what I'm worried this event turns into if Clemson and Florida State get their way.
Absolutely. And so as far, what was the media turnout there for the Pac-2?
So I did not see a ton of it because I think I understand.
So
why.
they only showed the hard cam.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
They AEW'd that bleep is what they did.
No.
Yeah.
AEW would never do that.
No, not at all. Sorry. They local indie wrestling companied that bleep is what they did. No, like it was, again, I don't know. They never really, like you said, they showed hard cam for you non-wrestling people. That's where they have a camera that faces the stage and nothing else, so that all you see is the performance in that case. for this event, let's be generous, great one. Let's say that there were 5 radio stations covering each team. And then let's say that you had one representative from each of the national outlets. Well, as I look around the room here, and I will say that ACC Media Days works a little different. So we're in the pit. In fact, since I have my cam on a stick here for the event, this is this year's radio pit where we are. All right. So up those, and if you're not on the stream right now, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefan. Nope, not on Twitter anymore. Facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on YouTube, and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. So here's our media pit, great one. And I'll do this again later on, but this is the media pit. And you can see there's probably 1, 2, 3, there's 4 rows of tables that are each 5 long. So we're probably looking around 23, 24 tables worth of working media here. And then the escalators go up. And at the top of the escalators up there, the ACC network television set is at the top of those stairs. So ordinarily, that's where ACC Karen will be posted up telling me to stop yelling while they're trying to do TV. They placed it far away from us. It's at the top. And then up those stairs and to the right is where the ballrooms are that they'll be doing all of the stuff. I don't know why I'm putting my hand out here illustrating. It makes me laugh.
You're showcasing the tattoo, which is amazing. So now we know it's actually your arm that's doing it. She could yell down from there and tell you to please quiet down. Probably. She could.
Here's what I will tell you. Right there's the escalator where I'll be making my announcement that I am running for president this year. I've heard that there's an opening, so I'll announce my candidacy on that escalator. But up the other side of that escalator is where the majority of the media takes place. And I will say that the national media this year is up there, right? So like there's most of the national media, there is a whole media workroom.
Wow, that's
okay. Rephrase that. The non-live broadcasting media are up there.
Okay,
right. So
all right,
newspapers, your magazines, your non-live broadcasting, all the live broadcasters. So your podcasters, YouTubers, and dorky FM radio hosts. We're all down here in the pit. All the working press coverage, magazines, newspapers, they're all upstairs. But like I said, even
so real life downstairs, snooty upstairs.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
People, like this is the cool kids table, and then the dorks are upstairs.
Gotcha.
I say that lovingly because I'm friends with most of the dorks. So all of those things being said, if I am being generous here, I would be willing to say 2 things. Number 1, this radio pit, Zoe, is about 60% of the size that it was the last 2 years that I've been covering this event. Now, I don't know what the variable is to say why, right? I can't tell you why that is. I can't tell you that it's because, it might be because it's in a different hotel and it was going to be like I will tell you that Cole and I have been working to put this event together for the past 4 or 5 weeks since we got the announcement that everything was changing up this year. Cole and I have been putting in the work to make this thing happen. And we did have to clear some extra hurdles this year with a new hotel, a new venue, a new part of town, not dramatically far from where we were, but like it's a little bit different spot. We are now uptown instead of downtown Charlotte. So there were some hurdles we had to jump, some things that we had to do. And I can say like maybe that had something to do with it, right? Like some of the smaller radio outlets might have been like, nah, screw that. We'll just get Rob Brown's quotes from their website and pull them, whatever. I don't know if it's because people are losing interest in the ACC because they know the lawsuits are at some point. I'm now convinced at some point there's a settlement coming. I just don't know when and where. I don't know what the reason for it is, but you're looking at about maybe 50 to 60% of the radio pit sizes last year. The Pac-2, I can't imagine had more than like 24 people there covering it, right? And if these schools, and we'll circle back around to this conversation later because we're late for a break. If Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, and then probably by proxy, NC State, Duke, maybe Virginia and Virginia Tech, were to win lawsuits, were to get out of the ACC, I'm going to tell you, Zoe, and I don't want to say this because I love covering this event. I've done it for 3 or 4 years now. And if you're playing music, I don't hear it, by the way. Okay, beautiful. This will be the last time I cover this event. if those schools get out by next year. We'll talk more about it when we come back. Rob Brown, Lonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show is live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the Fan Upstate.
Buckle up and get ready for a wild ride of sports talk. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's the...
Did you turn something down or something?
A little, just to not kill my echo. Like, I could still hear it, but just kind of reduce the volume of it. I still heard it, but I did not hear music coming over the top of it. So I'll just pay better attention to the clock. And as we get closer to the end of the segment, I'll turn it back up so I hear the music.
Well, I can turn the music up louder too.
Yeah, we don't need to wreck the broadcast sound.
Hey, listen, I can put a hot mix up so the vocals are still above the music, but enough to where you can hear it.
So Courtney got me on this. This is one of those circle things. It's like a flavor cartridge that you plug into a Yeti, and then you can like dial up how much taste you want in your water as you drink it. Well, two things. Number one, before the show, and I'm assuming everyone on the stream can still hear me. Cool. Before the show, I went to fill it with water, and I did, and I tried to push this in. Well, it's a screw cap, so I pushed it, and then I dropped the cup, and so I have completely saturated my lap with water. So I'm soaking wet from belt to knees now, and can't stand up from behind this table until it's dry. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I am trapped in this chair for, I'd say, a solid another hour or so. What's up, Diggs? Welcome to the show, Big Dog. Good to have you as always, my guy. Two, I really like the concept of this, except for it's kind of a pain to get water out of. That's what that noise was earlier.
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
Diggs, how you living? Jacquop. That's how I'm going to say your name now, Jacquop. How's the life, my guy? Oh, that's why I can't get water up, because the straw broke in half. Wow, what an investment I have made here, fellas.
Did it break in half when you dropped it?
I don't.
I mean, maybe. It could be.
I hope ACC Karen's not paying attention now.
She only cares about sound. There's somebody else that worries about that. You got 1 minute.
Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play.
All right, that's a challenge. You know it is.
On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing.
10
And on
seconds.
your computer at the Fan.
FanUpstate.com.
Your guide to the gridiron. The maestro of the matchups and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world. This is the Rob Brown Show. Oh, yeah. Lonzo's here, too. This is the Fan Upstate.
So, just because we like to have fun on this show, I have to inform you all of something that is happening, and I'm whispering for a reason. And I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but I also have to share this story with you. So, during the break, we have Lonzo and I have been working this event for, is this our third or fourth year? Third or fourth year we've been working this event. And in the years that we've been working this event, it really was a joke that was really only the first couple of years, but it's also not entirely a joke. The first year that I was here, first couple of years we covered this event. I just broke this whole water bottle. Great one. I just got this thing. I'm already breaking it. I'm going to stand up while I tell this story because I'm throwing stuff all over the room. This is professional radio.
Is standing up the best idea for you?
No, not at all. But I also don't have a choice because the freaking $35 filter water bottle that I just bought yesterday just not only flew out of the cup and shot across the room, but okay. Anyway, so Fun story.
It's a shame that that other people weren't there to.
No, I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest with you. I'm glad this is happening at 6:25 in the morning. Anyway, so we've made the joke in the past about ACC Karen, because the first couple of years that I was here to do this event, we were at the old hotel, and at the old hotel, the ACC network set was right around the corner from us, right? And so in the first year that we covered this event, they put our fan upstate table 15 feet away from the ACC network's desk. And during media days, they run live shows all day, right? Like they've got constant parade of coaches and players coming by, and EJ Manuel and Mark Richt and all these guys are up there doing shows. And so the first year that I was here covering this event, I was in the noon to 3 slot at the time. And in that slot, they were going live for ACC afternoons, whatever it was called at the time. So I go live. I'm live for 12 minutes. And a lady walks over and she goes, "Sir, I have to ask you to quiet down. We can hear you over the talent on the television." And I was like, "I'll do my best, but I make no promises." Because at the end of the day, I'm just loud, right? Like I don't intentionally do it. I don't do it to be a jerk. I'm just loud. So we did probably 20 minutes or so, and eventually the volume started to pick back up because the room was loud, right? You've got, in the old room, you had 50, 60 tables of radio people all trying to out-radio each other. It's going to be some volume. So we go on for a little while, and eventually she comes back over about 20 minutes later, and she's like, "Man," she didn't say man. She's like, "I'm not trying to cause a problem here, but you are louder than everyone else in this room. I need you to turn it down." I didn't think that it was me, but I also acknowledge that we're on remote. We wear these big headsets that if you join us on the stream, you'll see I'm rocking the old classic, TV booth headset. We wear these big headsets, and they are designed to not let you hear anything else anywhere else, right? So I'm like, all right, I apologize. And this happened, I think, one more time during the show. And eventually she came over and she was not happy. She's like, "If I have to ask you again to be quiet, we're going to have to remove you from the event." And I was like, word. All right, that checks out. That makes sense. So we kind of started this running joke about ACC Karen and me being loud at this event or whatever. And then the next year we came up and had the same thing happen, but they put us further away. The lady came over and she's like, same lady. And she's like, "Hey, need you to quiet down. You're loud again." Great, fine, whatever. Last year when we came to this event, as we made a joke about, they put us as far away from the TV set as we could possibly get. I mean, we were on the far side of this gigantic ballroom that all the media is at. And I didn't see ACC Karen last year, but she also didn't have any reason to come talk to me. Well, I got here this morning, and we're in a different hotel than we've been the last 3 years working this event. And the media pit that we are in is, as I showed back in the first segment, it is down and away from the TV net, which is up an escalator on the next floor up. And so before the show started, I went up the escalator just to go kind of like get my bearings, because when the show's over at 10, all of the media stuff starts at 10, right? So we go off the air at 6 till, and I got 6 minutes to get everything set up, get up to the big banquet room, set myself up for the press conferences and all that. So I go up there and I'm looking. I'm like, is she here yet? Is she here yet? Is she here yet? But we have a new character that has arrived, ladies and gentlemen, at ACC Media Days, and I don't know what we're going to call this cat. But let me tell you what happened during that last break. During that last break, and I'll for those of you on the stream, y'all might want to come on the stream because there's going to be a lot of interactivity on the show today. All right, you see those two banners over there against the wall. One of them says like what is it? It's Conference of Quarterbacks. The other one says Tournament Conference something. I don't know what they say, but you see the two gray banners over there. All right, So during the break, those banners are up against the wall, all right? On the other side of those banners is just a hotel wall. So during the break, there's a guy that comes by. I'm gonna respectfully say older guy in like way too big security setup, right? Like a big yellow vest that says security. And let me be very clear. My man's doing his job. And I respect that he's doing his job. All right. Like it's not my man's here at 6 o'clock in the morning providing security for a major journalistic event. I respect that. During the break, great one. My guy walks betwixt the front door of me and those banners, and he gets over and he walks up to the side of the banner, and he doesn't just like look behind the banner. Again, it's a wall. There's a wall behind it. There's nothing back there. He walks up to the banners, though. He slowly reaches to the edge of it, grabs the banner, pulls it back real fast, and jumps back there. Like if there's somebody hiding back there, he's going to surprise and catch them. Looks back there, and then he just like puts it back, and then he quietly walks to the next one, walks up to the edge, waits, grabs it, pulls it back, and jumps back there again. Like if somebody's here to cause a problem, they overnight have wedged themselves in between a hotel wall and that banner, and that's how this dude was going to catch them and prevent a tragedy.
First of all, you got to consider current climate will make people look around a little bit more. Also, do they not understand how sound works? So if you put the loudest people down in basically a bowl,
yep,
the sound is going to travel up.
Yep.
What a mistake that was. And the TV people probably thought they were being clever, but you know,
for sure they did.
Yeah,
for sure they did, because again, like the studio setup it's up the escalator, and then in fairness, it's another like 10 or 15 yards down the hallway, right? It's not really. I mean, I guess it is. It's kind of like a big wide hallway, and they're at the far end of it, and on top of that, they have kind of a. It's not a sound barrier. If you watch ACC Net later on today, you'll see it. They have the desk, and then they have all, what are we at, 14 teams, 15 teams now, however many teams we're at now. They have a mannequin with the full jersey, helmet, full uniform of all the teams wrapped around, and they're kind of like a barrier, and then a big sign in the middle between the studio desk and us.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
It is. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll probably have to do it after the show, but after the show is over, I will go live, and I'll do a little live from ACC Media Day tour on our social media. So follow us on Facebook at The Fan Upstate on Facebook, or at The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, and make sure that you are subscribed to our Twitter as well, because I'll put some pictures and stuff up there as well. But make sure you're following us across our social media, because after the show's over at 10 o'clock, not only are we going to start covering the Mike Norvell press conference and all that, but we'll have some interviews going on, and I may even do a couple of those live on the social media as well. So at The Rob Brown Show on X, at The Rob Brown Show on Instagram, at The Fan Upstate on X, at The Fan Upstate on Facebook. Make sure you're following us on social media, because we got a lot going on. All right, when we come back, we actually do have some sports to get into. Xander Schauffele is a dude. The Braves are falling apart. And, of course, we'll talk some college football on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate.
This is WWE Intercontinental Champion Der Ringgeneral Gunther, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show on The Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders.
Okay, you heard it better that time?
A very clearly broken water filter thingy number one.
Did it come with multiples?
It came with two.
Ah.
But one of them was black cherry, which is my favorite flavor of everything. And that's the one that I broke. And the problem is the other one is in our little storage tote, which I've had to Jenga under the table so that we don't look like white trash with a big storage container hanging out, except for everything's in it. So now anytime I want something, I got to go up under the table and try to dig around and find it. And also, if I didn't feel bad enough,
And see with Progressive. Download the RC app,
across
search
and
the
up
Fan Upstate,
from
and listen anywhere on your phone.
is
Chuck
the
Sanders at the Sports Flash in the Fan Upstate.
wellness center, the gym. And there's an indoor track that runs around it. And so you can look up, and there's like workout machines and treadmills that are facing the windows that look down here into the radio pit. And then right above that is the track. And so I am watching actual healthy, in shape people jogging laps at 6:35 in the morning to be in shape, while I'm sitting down here like, 10 o'clock, they put the mashed potatoes out.
All right. So are you trying to see if you can make the track runners jump?
No, it's like
No, I don't mean jump over. I mean startle them. That's what I mean.
No, I did not immediately go.
I wasn't worried about you. I was worried about anybody else who was watching, thinking that that's what I meant.
There's glass between they and I, so they cannot, they can't hear nor see. I mean, they can see me if they look down.
Which is probably not a good idea while you're running.
Well, it's not, like I said, it's not open. Here, look, I can show you.
All right, 1 minute.
1 minute.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer.
This one doesn't work.
Especially since she knows that you drop things.
I'm doubling everything now.
It works. I just broke the filter when I dropped it.
All right, so be careful. All right, 20 seconds.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live on the Free Odyssey app. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Early birds get the sports scoop. The Rob Brown Show, now morning 6 to 10.
On the Fan Upstate.
Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of ACC football kickoff. It is the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the Kirkland Lonzo, back at the palatial Fan Upstate studios as we've got the four most exciting hours, electrifying hours of sports talk entertainment that you're going to find anywhere this morning. Do want to let you know we are live on our live stream this morning at facebook.com/the Fan Upstate by searching the Fan Upstate or the Rob Brown Show on YouTube and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. We are live all 4 hours today. Tomorrow, Lonzo and I are off on Wednesday, and we will be live on Thursday. That is the final day of ACC Media Days. I will also tell you that Thursday is Clemson Day, and I can tell you that we do have a one-on-one sit-downs scheduled with both Dabo Sweeney and Cade Klubnik on Thursday. Now, I am also off on Friday, so what is going to happen is this. I'm actually going to go live for that interview on our social media pages. So you will get to listen to the interview live on our social media on Thursday when we get that time confirmed. I do have the interviews confirmed. I will get the exact time later on this morning. When I get the time, I will let you know. We are going to go live for those interviews. And then Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel will air those interviews in their entirety that afternoon. And then Lonzo and I, when we get back on Monday, we'll have them a recap with some additional thoughts after Media Days are concluded. So that is I got asked a couple of times, are we going to have Dabo on? Are we going to have Cade on? The answer is yes, we are going to have both of them on. I will go live with those interviews on Thursday. It is right now, they are going to be somewhere between noon and 2. When we get that time confirmed, we will go live on the Fan Upstate Facebook, on the Fan Upstate YouTube, on the Rob Brown Show Facebook, on the Rob Brown Show YouTube, and on the Rob Brown Show Twitch. We will go live just like a regular show, and we will post those, and then Cole and Diesel will run those interviews in their entirety on Wire to Wire on Thursday. So that's the schedule for Thursday afternoon. All right, let's get to some sports. let's get to some stuff that we got to get to today. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to justify. To justify? What am I doing? Golly.
Daggum justify.
I gotta justify these decisions over here, y'all.
You might want to be careful with that accent where he is.
Golly, man. This is Charlotte. We are distinguished up here. I don't know what the hell that was either. All right. It takes a lot to justify, that's how you say that word, placing golf anywhere in the top part of the rundown of a show. Okay? I love golf. You guys know me. Big golf guy over here. Eh? Love some swing stick. All right? Hard to justify putting golf in the early portion of a rundown. Golf is ordinarily something that, you throw it into the water cooler cheat sheet if it's a major tournament. Maybe if you have a story as big as, number one golfer in the world gets arrested on the way to play the second round of a major championship. That probably justifies a little bit of extra coverage, whatever. Takes a lot to justify putting golf in the rundown, but I'm going to do it here. And the reason I'm going to do it here, great one, is because we have been spending, and again, justifiably so, quite a bit of time this year talking about one particular golfer. Now, without even naming who I'm talking about here, let's check in with the great one, Lonzo. Lonzo, what golfer have we spent the majority of our time talking about so far this golf season?
Tiger Woods.
That's a very fair guess. Not the guy I was thinking about. Actually, you know what? Not wrong. Two golfers we have spent the majority of our time talking about. One of them is Eldrick Tiger Woods. The other one is Prison Scotty Scheffler. All right? Prison Scotty is our guy. But here's the fun thing. While Prison Scotty made his way to the top of the world golf rankings, and again, another guy very justifiably so, Scotty Scheffler is having a really, really good year. Can I tell you right now that Scotty Scheffler is not going to win this year's PGA Tour Player of the Year award? He's not going to win it. And he's not going to win it because Xander Schauffele is. Xander Schauffele at the Royal Trine golf course. I feel like I worked on it enough this weekend, though, that I can get away with Royal Trine, but then nothing else.
And there's no one there to really give you that look.
There's one guy all the way over on the other side of the room, and he just did like one of these. Like a quick side eye. Anyway, Royal Trine Golf Course is where the Open Championship took place. The 30-year-old PGA Tour star from San Diego, California, shot a bogey-free final round. You know where else he shot a bogey-free final round? The PGA Championship at Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky, when he won that major too. Now, in fairness, and I do think it is in fairness, that is the event that Scotty Scheffler got arrested at, right? Which was one of the most ridiculous stories I can remember in golf, and I can't tell you how long. Scotty Scheffler gets arrested at the PGA Championship. Xander Schauffele goes on to win that event. And in doing so, and following it up with the win at the Open Championship at the Royal Trine golf course in Scotland. I can do Scotland. Scotland's the only word I can do in a Scottish accent, and it works. Scotland. Frida. Okay. Xander Schauffele, in winning the Open Championship and the PGA Championship, has become the 7th golfer all time to win both of those events in 1 year. He is the first golfer to win both of those events in 1 year in the last decade. The last guy to do it was Rory McIlroy back in 2014. It was Patty Harrington in 2008, Tiger Woods in 2006, Tiger Woods in 2000, Nick Price in 1994, and the last guy before that was Walter Hagen back in 1924. I wasn't born yet, in case you were curious about that. 7 guys have, sorry, 6 guys have done it. 1 guy's done it twice, but that's Eldrick, so he doesn't really count. Jack never did it. Arnie never did it. Gary never did it. Lee never did it. Xander Schauffele just did it. One of 7 guys to pull that off. It is pretty impressive. Xander Schauffele is now the number 2 ranked player in the world, according to the World Golf Rankings. He has outpaced Rory McIlroy and is currently about 300 points behind Scotty Scheffler, Prison Scotty, despite the fact that he has played only 1 fewer event. Xander Schauffele looked like a dude. How much of a dude? A dude that I am talking about golf in the first hour of the show live from one of college football's biggest media days. That's how big of a dude Xander Schauffele has been. According to ESPN Stats and Information, Schauffele is the first golfer in the Masters era, dating back to 1934, to have multiple final rounds of 65 or better in majors in the same year. That's the kind of round that wins you majors. That's the kind of final round that makes sure you take home Claret Cups. That's the kind of round that makes sure you win Masters and PGA Championships and all that. And Xander Schauffele has done that. It's the 7th consecutive major won by an American golfer, the longest such streak since we captured 13 straight from 74 to 77. And it is the first year since 1982 that U.S. golfers have claimed all 4 majors. Scotty Scheffler did it when he won the Masters. Bryson DeChambeau captured the U.S. Open. And, of course, the other 2 majors both won by Xander Schauffele. Schauffele is also the first golfer since Brooks Koepka in 2018 to claim 2 majors in 1 season. It is only the 7th time a player has won the PGA and the Open in the same year. Rory, as we told you a minute ago, the last guy to do that back in 2014. This guy's next level. And here's the thing. Because of the year that Scotty Scheffler has had, because Scotty's been lights out. He's been unbelievable. But I'm going to tell you right now, the year that Xander Schauffele is having is a better year. It's a better year. He's won 2 majors. He was top 10 or top 5 in the other 2 majors. He has gotten plenty of wins. Scotty is getting the discussion he's getting. And again, justifiably so, because my guy's he's sitting on 6 wins in a season. That's freaking hard to do, right? Like the list of guys who have pulled off 6-win seasons is real not long, right? And it's a list that has names like Tiger Woods on it. It ain't a long name, a long list of names. But Xander Schauffele is coming through in all the biggest tournaments. And again, we can write off the PGA Championship for Scotty Scheffler. Because what Scotty Scheffler went through in the lead up to his second round, it was the second round that he got arrested, right? Wasn't it that Friday, Lonzo? Do you remember off the top of your head? I think it was that Friday, right?
I don't remember. Why do I think it was the very first day?
It could. I don't remember off the top of my head because I have real bad memory. I'll go look that up. But the point here is, whatever day he was arrested, there was no way that Scotty Scheffler was going to scratch that. Had Scotty Scheffler come back and it was Friday, Lonzo, had Scotty Scheffler come back getting arrested, what was it, 4 hours before he started the second round of a major championship. Had that guy come back and won that tournament, it would have been the best golf performance I've ever seen in my life. All right. I can tell you this. I'm fortunate to be able to say, Zoe, I've never been arrested. Okay? I've never been arrested. Now, I've been in some situations in the past where I was asked to have a conversation with one of our wonderful law enforcement agents. Never arrested, never in trouble, never investigated, but just was around some situations where they're like, sir, we've got a couple of questions we'd like to ask you.
All right.
Please don't go.
Did this have something to do with sound ordinance? I'm just guessing.
Shockingly, no. Shockingly, no. The first one had to do with a traffic accident outside of a bar with a person who was imbibing inside the bar, and they basically wanted me as a witness to say, hey, listen, I saw this person in there pounding back some brewskis. Happy to do so. And the second time was for a fight that took place in a bar that I may or may not have been loosely involved in. Not in the fight itself, but like in breaking the fight up. So never been arrested. But what I can say is this, and yes, I am a goody two-shoes, all right? I don't have any intention of getting arrested. It sounds miserable to me. If that man got arrested, got thrown into the back of a cop car, got hauled down to the county PD, whatever it was, then got picked up by the course owner, driven back to the course, and told, you got 30 minutes before you tee off. And he won that event. It had been the greatest performance of all time. Okay? I'm willing to not count Scotty Scheffler's performance in the PGA Championship for or against him. Xander Schauffele came out and won that damn golf tournament. Even if Scotty Scheffler had been fine, even if he would have been totally in the right mindset to go win that event, Xander Schauffele still was going to beat him because he played a wild round. What this guy is doing right now is unbelievable. And by the way, this wasn't a tournament that like Xander went out there and played okay golf and a bunch of other guys just wilted. We were doing the Bet for the Cycle on Saturday. My guy, Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel got to like 11, 12, and he was playing okay golf, Alonzo. And then it was pouring rain. It was raining. Like this was classic Scottish links golf, just rain and wind, whatever. They put the camera on Billy Horschel at one point, Zoe. My man takes off the windbreaker. Pouring rain, takes off the windbreaker, takes his hat off, turns it around backwards, and plays the rest of his round with a backwards hat and the windbreaker off. I'm like, that dude's winning this tournament, right? And Billy Horschel started throwing darts at the green. I mean, throwing darts at the green. And I immediately texted one of my guys. I'm like, yo, put a bet for me on Billy Horschel right now. Like, put a bet on this guy. Billy Horschel's zoned in right now. And then Xander Schauffele came out on Sunday and beat him. It wasn't like Horschel fell apart. It wasn't like Justin Rose fell apart. It's not like these guys played bad golf in any way stretch of the imagination. Xander Schauffele just came out and kicked everybody's tail. That was it. In a gross day on Saturday, better conditions, but a firm yet damp course on Sunday, in the worst conditions you're going to find anywhere. Xander Schauffele came out and did what Xander Schauffele has been doing all year long. And it's very nice for Xander Schauffele because up until now, and I think this changes now, there's been no pressure on the guy because everybody's been talking about what? Scotty Scheffler and the year he's having, great year, and Tiger Woods and the not year that he's having right now because my dude is hurting. Xander Schauffele's been flying under the radar. My man's been out here winning tournaments, getting top fives, getting top tens. He's now put 2 majors in the bag, and until he put major number 2 in the bag, nobody talked about him. Everybody's talking about him now. Xander Schauffele not only should, but is going to end up winning your PGA Player of the Year award, despite what Scotty Scheffler's doing right now. I'm calling that shot. All right. That is 1 hour in the books. When we come back in hour number 2, we got your water cooler cheat sheet out of the gate. Tell you the top 3 sports stories going on before you get to the office. And then let's talk some college football. Let's preview some ACC football, shall we? It's coming up as we roll on. Before we get to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, the ACC is the Conference of Champions. The Fan Upstate is the station of Lonzo.
Wow. That's truer words have never been said. The Atlanta Braves dropped 2 out of 3 games against St. Louis to start the second half of the season. Game 3 saw rookie Spencer Schwellenbach take the loss, surrendering 7 hits, including 3 home runs in 6 innings. Though he did strike out 8, Atlanta's offense combined for 9 hits. But the bigger news was the departure of Ozzie Albies after he fractured his wrist. The second baseman is expected to miss roughly 8 weeks. Atlanta is 54-44, 8.5 back of Philadelphia. CJ Stroud will be getting some help in Houston as the Texans have signed former Rams running back Cam Akers to a contract. Details of the deal aren't known. Akers joins a running back stable that already includes former Pro Bowler Joe Mixon and third-year man Dameon Pierce, who rushed for over 1,300 yards his first 2 seasons.
Up-to-the-minute upstate traffic. So far, so good as the Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows throughout the upstate. No traffic issues. It's all running smoothly. No weekend or overnight road work left to be picked up. You could encounter areas of fog on your morning drive, so be mindful of that. Right now, 85 between Greenville and Spartanburg is good in both directions. 29 Wade Hampton is also a clear shot. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on Classic Rock 101.1.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's number
that is
one
really
brakes
good to know.
destination.
Well, if you do, at least now you know how long it'll take to dry it.
Assuming they made them so that you can wear them in the summer and sweat and not feel like you're wearing pants. I'll take it for also dumping an entire cup of freaking water.
So what you're saying is you're wearing LIV pants. You're wearing live pants.
Not only am I wearing live pants, but I also picked up like 3 golf polos that are all Greg Norman as well. Because while I hate the live tour, Greg Norman stuff is really nice for being as inexpensive as it is. These pants were like $14 at Costco, and I've worn them today, and they are now my favorite pants.
Okay.
So nice navy blue dress pant. Like I could put it on with a dress shirt and go to a function like this, and also wear them to play golf. They are my new favorite pants. I'm going to pick up 3 more pairs when I get back to Greenville. I bought them in blue. They had them in khaki. I will get a pair of those. And they had them in gray. And I will get a pair of those. And I really hope that I can go to their website and he makes them in like red and pink and yellow, because I'll get those too.
Wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
Turn on Levon. Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate. Your morning jolt of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show.
Inevitably, what happens?
I am not going to sink to your level of negativity. You've defeated them every single time. You're going to do it again.
I will wade through the ocean of negativity on my own. I will brave the treacherous waters of pessimism like the captain that I am.
You've seen this a million times, so is it like it's time for them to
Sailed them. I live on them. They are me. I am them.
Curtain guy made any more appearances that you've seen?
No, I have not. He's MIA now. I got to tell you, I feel very insecure in this ballroom media pit. Somebody could be hiding behind those curtains right now, and we'll never know.
So you would think that this would be a very busy time for La GM. You know, considering La GM is
They're auctioning off Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones fedora from Last Crusade, and it is expected to fetch over $500,000. I hope I buy a hat for $500,000 rich one day.
That would be nice. I think that's kind of light as far as expectations for how much they'll get for that.
Yeah,
But we'll
they
see.
usually underestimate those things, but still, like.
Tweeting about the official sports voice of
Yeah, but it's
Upstate. An Odyssey sports station.
Oh, I wouldn't know. All right, we back.
Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan Upstate.
As Dak Prescott would say, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show is live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of this year's ACC football kickoff, a.k.a. Media Days. We are live. We will be live all the way up through Thursday. It is wonderful to have you with us this fine Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob Brown, your ever so humble yet frequently correct host, back in the palatial Fan Upstate studios. The home of the Fan Upstate is the Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate, the Wizard of Wave, the Professor of Perfection, the Sultan of Sound, the Content Cash Cow, the great one, Lonzo, is here as well. And great one, I have to tell you, you asked during the break, our security curtain checker is MIA. And I got to tell you, I am now worried that there may be multiple James Bond caliber bad guys hiding behind various curtains around this media pit. I'm very nervous now. I don't know where he went.
You should be all right because you have cat-like reflexes, and you'll be able to. There you go. There it is.
I will karate chop somebody immediately.
Plus, you're pretty lonely where you are right now, so you're probably going to catch it.
It's me. There's me and 2 other dudes in this entire ballroom right now. Like the best thing is, like 10 minutes ago, a horde of pilots and flight attendants came down the stairs, obviously headed over to the Charlotte airport to jump on their airplanes and make flights around the country. And they're the only people I've seen. I've seen 1 security guard, 1 lady working the front desk, 2 other radio hosts, and that's it in this big ass hotel that I'm currently sitting in the middle of right now.
Yeah, but you just did the weather thing where they're talking about how bad the weather is, and then 2 people just walk past you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
you
were doing that.
You ever seen my favorite one ever of those is there's a lady who's like, she's like walking, or she's canoeing down a street. She's like, the floodwaters have been rising here in whateverville, USA. She's like canoeing down the street, and she's like, the waters are rising faster than people. And as she's canoeing down the middle of the road, 2 guys just walk right past her, like next to her canoe. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. If that didn't end that lady's career, she is golden in TV for forever.
I'm sure she was just doing what she's told, but still.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. So here's what we got going on for you. We are again live at ACC Football Kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days. We will be covering this event for the next few days. I will be here today and tomorrow. I will not be here Wednesday. We are off on Wednesday, and then Zoe and I will be back on Thursday. Thursday is Clemson Day, but to kind of update you on how this whole thing is going to work. The premise for the schedule for today is this. Everything kicks off at 10, but it's just kind of open coverage starting at 10. At noon, we will have our interviews with the 3 schools featured today. They are Florida State, Georgia Tech, and SMU. At 1 o'clock is the Commissioners Forum. That is when we will have the ACC commissioner give his speech on the state of the conference as a whole. That is when Jim Phillips will talk about, I'm assuming, the lawsuits of Clemson and Florida State. By the way, coming up at 8:40, John Blau of the Post and Courier will join us. We will get any updates regarding the lawsuits that we can from him as he's been dialed in. We'll talk to him a little bit about the media open house that Clemson hosted last Tuesday and get his thoughts on the comments of Dabo Swinney as well. Coming up in this hour, I am going to defend Dabo Swinney from some criticism that he has been taking, I think, unjustifiably from the national media. So stay tuned for that. Talk to John Blau at 8:40. But I assume that Jim Phillips in the Commissioners Forum, which starts at 1 p.m., will talk at length about those lawsuits, the updates of the lawsuits, et cetera, et cetera. I will tell you that I am going to attempt, I cannot promise that I will, but I am going to attempt to go live for the Commissioners Forum on our Facebook and Instagram pages. So make sure, again, you are following the Fan Upstate on Facebook, the Fan Upstate on Twitter, the Fan Upstate on Instagram, the Rob Brown Show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and on Twitch. I will do my best to go live for those events. But that is at 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock. That is really all that is scheduled today. We will have those interviews anywhere from noon to 5. I will get the recordings of those interviews. We'll run those back for you tomorrow. Tomorrow's schools, Cal Pitt, Stanford, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Those interviews, again, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The state of the coaches' unions will take place throughout the day. I will also tell you that the interesting thing that I am very much looking forward to Alonzo, is tomorrow from 5 until 5:30 is the Football Technology Forum that will be taking place here at ACC Media Days. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's going to be about tech they're using in the game, if it's tech rules that are going into play. For instance, this year, ACC schools will be allowed to use iPad tablets in both the press box and on the sideline. Obviously, we're going to have conversation further about potential addition of helmet communications for players down the line, if this is going to be about tech in the broadcast or what. And I don't care, because the giant science nerd inside of me is like, yeah, I gotta find out what that's all about. So that's going to be really interesting, and we will have that covered for you. We will be off on Wednesday, as mentioned. Boston College, Duke, Louisville, Miami, Wake Forest on Wednesday. We will still have sound, as we will have some folks that are going to be here covering that event. Cole Bryson and Diesel, I know, are coming early on Wednesday in order to get a little bit of extra coverage before they go live at 3 p.m. for Wire to Wire. And then on Wednesday, we will be live on Thursday. That is Clemson Day. So Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, and Syracuse. We will get interviews. I have confirmed interviews with Dabo Swinney, Cade Klubnik on Thursday. I will record those interviews on Thursday. Those interviews will be played in their entirety on Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel that afternoon. They will be back in the studio on Thursday. And then I am off on Friday. So when we return on Monday, we will recap those interviews for you at that point. So that's where we are. That's where we stand with everything going on over the next couple of days. We hope that you will join us for these events as we are broadcasting live all the way through the week. But now, it is 7:07 in the morning. You've got just a little bit over 52 minutes until you got to clock in and lock in at the office. You're going to take that first break around, I don't know, what sounds good, 8:15 a.m. You're going to walk down the hallway. You're going to go grab David. You know David. David works over in janitorial services, and let's be real, David's a great guy, all right? You know, every day when you come to the office, Davis has done a stellar job of making sure you are set up, you are ready to roll. That place is clean, spick, span, tidy. You're going to go grab David. You're going to go, David, I like you, buddy. Let's go talk some sports. You and David are going to walk down the hallway. You're going to go to the water cooler. You're going to set up shop. You're going to talk sports. And if you and David are going to talk sports at work today, you got to know what's going on in the world, right? If you need to know what's going on in the world, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Oh, man, I really miss that."
Take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
You know, I'm glad you played that clip. Great one. Because I'm going to be real with y'all right now. Ain't a lot going on in the world of sports.
Well, he could be there. I mean, you know, running around. I mean, if camp is going on, which it is.
It is. You're not wrong.
He could just be strolling by and just see you in there and just walk in and start having a conversation. It could happen.
Wrong. Maybe. But I'm glad you played that clip, and here's why I'm glad you played that clip. And you and I had this conversation last week on Friday before we left the office. I read an article about our boy XL on Friday. And that article said that his last name is actually pronounced Liget His last name is pronounced Xavier Legette. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. I've only ever heard it pronounced Legette, Xavier Legette. I've only ever heard it pronounced Xavier Legette. But I read an article on a big, like, this wasn't like a local South Carolina blog. But I read on like a national outlet the other day. And I might be making a fool out of myself right now. But Lonzo, have you ever heard him called anything but Xavier Legette? Because this publication said it's actually pronounced Xavier Legette.
Until I actually talk to the person, I don't really believe anybody's pronunciation. I mean, we had that problem with DJ for a long time.
DJ?
And I was chastised for saying it wrong, and I was closer than Detroit guy was. So, I mean,
Detroit guy. Hey, let's get to item number 1 on the water cooler cheat sheet. The story could be, should be, the fact that the Atlanta Braves lost 6-2 to the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday. The story could be that the Atlanta Braves dropped 2 out of the 3 against the St. Louis Cardinals to get the second half of the season started. The story could be that the Philadelphia Phillies are doing everything in their power to open the door for the Atlanta Braves to find their way back into contention in the National League East Division. The story could be any of those things, but that's not the story. The story is that despite the fact that the Philadelphia Phillies are doing everything that they can do to open the door for the Atlanta Braves to compete in the National League's Eastern Division, the Braves can't, they won't, they refuse to. Philly has dropped 2 out of their 3 to open the second half. Well, guess what? So did the Atlanta Braves. And in dropping 2 out of the 3 to the St. Louis Cardinals, they have remained 8.5 games back of the Phillies. That's not the story. The story is that the Braves can't stay healthy. 2 big injuries coming from the weekend. Number 1, Max Fried has been sent to the short-term IL with what was described as a forearm issue. Now, I don't know, we don't know, they don't know, or at least they have not said what that forearm issue is. We don't know if it's an injury, a strain, a pull, whatever. But something happened to my guy's throwing forearm that has now pushed him onto the short-term IL. Remember, Max Fried was supposed to be the guy. When Spencer Strider went down, Max Fried was supposed to be the guy that stepped in, became a dude, and was going to carry this pitching staff until the playoffs, basically, because, hey, Spencer Strider ain't coming back this year. Well, instead, that has been Chris Sale, and that has been Reynaldo Lopez that have carried this team, but you just kind of kept waiting for Max Fried to round back into form and become a dude again. Now he's going on the short-term IL and do not know, A, when he will be back, and B, what shape he will be in when he comes back. But wait, as Billy Mays might say, there's more. Ozzy Albies is headed to the injured list as well. In the 9th inning, left the game with a left wrist injury. After the news conference, the team announced on social media that the veteran underwent x-rays that revealed a fracture in Ozzy Albies' wrist. He is expected to miss roughly 8 weeks. The infielder trying to field a throw at second on a stolen base attempt and bent his glove hand back when he collided with Michael Cine from the Cardinals. The 3-time All-Star hitting .255 with 8 home runs and 46 ribbies this season, batting almost exclusively from the number 2 spot in the order. His injury came hours after the announcement that Max Fried was going on the 15-day IL. It was reported, and this is, if there's any optimism to be found, the optimism. The Braves are finally calling up top 100 prospect Lonzo Nacho Alvarez Jr.
Nacho!
Coming up to Atlanta to step into the position vacated by Ozzy Albies, and Braves fans have been excited about Nacho for a hot minute here, and it looks like they are going to get the opportunity to see the young man when the Bravos take to the field coming up in their next home game. That is going to be this evening at 7:20 p.m. when Ellie De La Cruz, Hunter Green, and the Cincinnati Reds come to town. Reynaldo Lopez on the bump this evening. We will see if Nacho is in the lineup for Atlanta to make his rookie debut. Let's hustle to item number 2. We went racing yesterday in NASCAR, the Brickyard 400 running at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And in his return to the fast car of NASCAR, Kyle Larson finished one of the most memorable races of his career with one of the sport's most revered celebrations. He got to go down on hands and knees and kiss the bricks. The 31-year-old Californian overcame an early unscheduled pit stop by charging from 12th in the field to lead over the final 32 laps. We did have a green-white multi-playoff, multi-stop, multi-start finish to this race that ended with a caution after the green-white, meaning that the next flag ended the race. The caution came out as Larson was just ahead of Ryan Blaney's second-place car. Larson was able to leapfrog Blaney a little earlier in the race and then stay out front when the overtime flag dropped. Kyle Larson gets the win at the Brickyard. We'll talk a little more NASCAR in the race. And finally, item number 3. Xander Schauffele becomes just the 6th golfer in the history of the PGA Tour to win both the PGA Championship and the Open Championship in the same year. Schauffele fired off a bogey-free 4th and final round to jump out ahead of Billy Horschel and Justin Rose on Sunday and claim the crown. The last time that a golfer pulled off a PGA Championship and Open Championship in the same year, 2014, when Rory McIlroy did it. The only other golfers to do it, Patty Harrington in 2008, Tiger Woods in 2006 and 2000, Nick Price in 94, and Walter Hagen all the way back in 1924. Xander Schauffele described Sunday's bogey-free round as, quote, the best round I've ever played, end quote. Schauffele is the first golfer since 1934 to have multiple final rounds of 65 or better in majors in the same year. It is the 7th consecutive major won by an American golfer, the longest streak since 1974 to 77 when Americans captured 13 straight. It is the first year since 1982 that U.S. golfers claimed all 4 majors. Xander Schauffele, of course, with the Open of the PGA. Scotty Scheffler won the Masters, and Bryson DeChambeau captured the U.S. Open. And now, next up for Xander Schauffele, he heads to Paris to represent Team USA in the Olympics, just days away. Days away? Lonzo, day away. The Olympics are tomorrow. How did I forget that? I'm a bad sports radio host. I'm not. I'm actually very good, which is why when we come back in the next segment, let's talk a little ACC football. Let's talk a little bit about the teams that are represented here and what we expect to see out of this conference. That's coming up next. The great one, Lonzo, in studio. I am Rob Brown in Charlotte, North Carolina at ACC Media Days. This is the Fan Upstate.
New life.
Real sports talk, real sports fans.
The Fan Upstate
is the sports voice of
It's the sheep. Less wrinkles on your clothes. You know it's the sheep. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheep.
That's not good.
Pros, now's your chance to find the deals you need during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 20% off select Werner and Little Giant ladders. Plus, save $60 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 2-tool combo kit. Was $229, now $169. Shop the brands you trust in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 7/26. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
It's the most anticipated WNBA season in history. And you know what that means. Court is back in session. Welcome to Queens of the Court, an Odyssey original podcast. I'm your girl, Cheryl Swoop. And I'm Jordan Robinson. All WNBA season long, we'll be bringing you interviews with star athletes, analysis on your favorite teams, and lots of hot takes. Order in the court. Follow and listen to Queens of the Court on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your
1 minute.
Is there a particular spot you want to give away these Panthers?
Not yet.
No, well, yeah. Just let me know when you want to do it, and we'll tag it on to the end of the segment.
O-N-E. This is the award-winning Rob Brown Show. Mornings.
On the Fan Upstate.
The award-winning Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Stellar, as always, to have you with us here on the show. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, with you this morning as we are live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are covering the conference, and I would like to go back very briefly to a conversation that we started at the beginning of the show. And it is something that is, it's very interesting to me. It's very compelling to me. And part of the reason why, obviously, is that we cover a lot of ACC football here on the station, and we cover a lot of ACC football here on the station because, well, the Clemson Tigers, as of today, are still in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So, part of the reason I am interested in this is because as I am here at ACC Media Days, I have noticed something that jumped out to me as soon as I got here. Number one, we have had a change in venue. Okay, now, that's not the end of the world. It makes a lot of sense. I've been involved in events like this for as long as I have been talking into a microphone for money. Events change places for a lot of reasons. It changes events change venues because sometimes it costs less, sometimes the event grows or it shrinks into or out of its current setting. Sometimes a smaller venue or a larger venue makes sense. Sometimes a venue may add in some benefits or some little incentives for moving. There's a million reasons why we may be at a new venue. I'm going to be a buck with you. I don't know why we're in a new venue. I just know that we are. So when I arrived this morning at the new venue, here's what I will tell you. And I want to preface this with, I very much appreciate the efforts of the Atlantic Coast Conference to put this event on. I think it is a fantastic event. I think it is an event that is wildly beneficial to the ACC. I think it is an event that is wildly beneficial to the schools that play under that banner. I think it is wildly beneficial to the media. I think it is wildly beneficial to fans. Okay? It's a fantastic event. It is noticeably smaller than it has been the last 3 years that I have been coming to Charlotte to cover this event. at the last venue that we were at, it was a much bigger venue that we were at. It was a much different setup in terms of the media pit that we were in. When you pulled up to the old spot, there was a huge lobby you walked through to get to the big lobby where the media pit was. And there was stuff everywhere. Last year, in fact, I posted a video at one point. Last year, when you arrived at this event, you walked through the big lobby, and to get upstairs to the media pit, you popped onto an escalator that took you up. And when you got to the top of that escalator, Lonzo, there was the ACC Conference Championship trophy, flanked by the Orange Bowl trophy, and I don't remember the third, but they had 3 trophies. There was the conference tournament trophy, the Orange Bowl trophy, and another one. And then there was this huge backdrop display behind it that had the helmets of all the schools and pictures of players throughout the years from all of the ACC conference members. When you came up that escalator and you got to the top of it, dude, it felt like a big deal, right? Like it felt like a massive event. This morning, I arrived to the new venue, and it's not really like that, right? And again, I'm not attempting to be disrespectful of the conference because it's a wonderful event. I am very appreciative of the efforts, and I'm very appreciative to be allowed to be here and broadcast from here. But it does not have the same big-time feel. It does not have the same big-time vibe. It does not have the same big-time aura around it, I believe is what the kids are saying now. When I got here, the lobby you walk into, it's just a hotel lobby. And like there's some ACC signs hanging on the wall, but they kind of feel respectfully like the same kind of posters that I would hang in the bro cave at the house, just like, yeah, that's an event that I was at, right? Like not anything that blows you out of the door. And then I came upstairs in an elevator into the second floor, which is where the media pit is. And the media pit is surrounded by, those feather flags that you see out of like car dealerships and stuff. The media pit is surrounded by those flags of all the teams in the ACC, including SMU, including Cal, including Stanford, and 2 ACC banners. But I'm also going to tell you, the media pit is, Zoe, half the size it was last year, half the size it was the last 2 years that I've been at this event.
All right. You have shown video, and if you haven't, you should check out the stream. Are you sure? Because to me, it looks, because when in the old venue, you're upstairs and you're like spread around where the escalator was. And so this being condensed, maybe it's not as small as you think.
I will tell you that. So at the old venue, there were 3 segments to the media pit. There was the big main one that was up by the ACC net television set. And then there were the 2 rows of tables that went on either side of the escalator all the way to the back of the ballroom. The front pit at the old ACC Media Days, these tables, you could not walk between them. They were butted up against each other. Like I could lean over and high five. I could reach over and handshake the people that were broadcasting at the tables next to me. There's 4 feet of room between me and the next table. They are spread out more than they were in the past. The second part is what I would tell you is at best.
Not a bad thing, because radio people sometimes are a little bit sturdy. So.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm much more comfortable in terms of my personal bubble than I have been at years gone by. But the second thing I will say is at best, the best I can give it is that the media pit this year that we are in is the same size as like the front section of last year's, not including the 2 additional, actually I should say 4 additional rows of probably 12 tables to each row that extended on either side of the escalator at the old venue. That's not here. This media day, like I said, it's probably, and again, it's early. I'm one of the first. There are now 3 people doing shows here right now. 3. There are 3 people in media pit right now. I am one of the, scratch that. I was the first person in the building this morning. I got here at 4 o'clock this morning to make sure all our equipment was set up and connected and all that. I was the first person to the building. I was the only person here up until about 5:45 when one of the other guys showed up and set up his stuff to do his show at 6. This media pit is smaller than the last 2 years. However, there's also a working media room upstairs. And this is why I'm going to say I might be wrong about this, okay? There's a media room upstairs. The media room upstairs is for newspapers, magazines, print working, basically. I don't know how many people are going to be in that room. I will go check it out at 10 a.m. when we get off the air before the commission's conference this afternoon. But it does not have, and again, it is 7:30 in the morning for an event that doesn't start till 10. So I may come back on tomorrow morning and goes, guys, I was totally wrong. It's everything's great. Everything's spectacular. It's as big. There's as much energy right now as there ever has been before. But what I can tell you right now is it doesn't feel that way, right? And I do kind of wonder about the reasons why. And I have 2 of them. Reason number 1 is the fact that the ACC has got to be saving money right now, right? And they've got to be saving money for 2 reasons. The first is the next reason, is reason number 2. I'm going to come to that in a minute. But the second reason is I think they have to be putting as much money into the bank as they can because they've got to do everything they can to pay out schools as much as they can at the end of the conference fiscal year. They are watching the Southeastern Conference lap them in terms of school payouts at the end of the financial year. They are watching the Big Ten lap them in terms of financial payout at the end of the year. And most importantly, I think, Lonzo, they're watching the Big 12 lap them in terms of amount of money that they will have to pay out at the end of the financial year. As it stands right now, part of the reason that I think that Clemson and Florida State are so willing to fight multiple lawsuits on multiple fronts to get out of this conference is because of the fact that they can go to any of the other 3 conferences and not just make more money, make dramatically more money, right? Like, you're getting paid within 4 or 5 years. You know that you are getting paid twice as much money if you go to the Big Ten, twice as much money if you go to the SEC. And while I understand the stories floated around last week that the Big Ten and the SEC don't want to invite specifically Florida State, but don't want to invite Clemson or FSU, the Big Ten because they're not AAU accredited, the SEC because they're already saturated, I don't believe those things, okay? I don't believe them. I've given my reason. I'll give it again coming up in a minute in the next segment. But I think knowing that the Big 12 is going to be able to pay more money than the ACC means the ACC has got to be saving up money. And I don't wonder if this event feeling, and again, I'll check it out a little bit more in depth when it starts at 10 a.m. I wonder if this event hasn't been scaled back a little bit to put some money in the bank. I'll talk about reason number 2 when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show, live from ACC football kickoff in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the Fan Upstate.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Upstate. I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. Atlanta Braves second baseman Ozzie Albies is expected to miss at least 8 weeks due to a left wrist fracture. The club made the announcement on Sunday after Albies left the game against the Cardinals in the 9th after sustaining the injury, attempting to prevent a stolen base. The 3-time All-Star appeared to bend his wrist awkwardly while catching a throw from the catcher to apply a tag to the base runner. He immediately threw his glove away and crouched down in pain. Albies had a pair of hits in the game, but is in the midst of a down season. He's hitting .258 after posting a career year in 2023. The Cardinals beat the Braves 6-2 on Sunday. Miles Michaelis improves to 8-8 with the win. Spencer Schwellenbach suffered the loss. He's 3-5. Paul Goldschmidt hit one of 4 Cardinal home runs in the game. Cards DH Alec
I'm going to go to the restroom. That is funny, though.
Lars Nootbaar and Wilson Contreras also went deep. Jared Kelnick.
I do not. So you can continue to talk to the...
renters or condo and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash.
I don't know. Maybe he can't hear you. Maybe because
Surprisingly,
my utility has to be in. I don't know. I'm going to leave mine in, and I'm going to go to the restroom.
Yet this morning, you do have that slight slowdown right at Pelham Road due to equipment and lane changes, but other than that, it's a clear shot between Greenville and Spartanburg.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
Upstate.
Your guide to the gridiron, the maestro of the matchups and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Oh, yeah. Lonzo's here, too.
This is the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Robin the Great One Lonzo with you. I am live in Uptown Charlotte, North Carolina, live at ACC Football Kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days, getting underway here in just about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now. The event will officially begin. We will hear today alongside Florida State, Georgia Tech, and SMU, the three schools elected to kick off this event. We will also hear later today from Commissioner Jim Phillips. Jim Phillips will give a State of the Conference speech this afternoon at 1 p.m. I will try to go live and carry that event for us across the Fan Upstate's social media pages. So make sure you're following us on social media for that. And then, of course, tomorrow on the show, we will have whatever the biggest pieces of information we get from Jim Phillips. We will play some sound bites for you on tomorrow's edition of the radio broadcast. We were having a conversation a minute ago. And again, I will once again preface this conversation this way. I appreciate the efforts of the ACC. I appreciate them putting this event on. I appreciate them allowing not just me, but the media as a whole to be here. I appreciate them. They have provided us with the broadcast venue. They have provided us with the table and the setup and the internet. They have provided us with the venue. They have provided us with food all 4 days. They have done an incredible job, as they have the 3 years that I have covered this event, putting it on. That being said, I do have some thoughts. I do have some questions that I am interested in as we go through this event. Now, let me begin by saying that it is 7:41 in the morning. It is very early in the morning. Let me say that I was the first one here. There are, as of right now, 3 people that are currently broadcasting at this event. All right. There'll be more joining throughout the day. The majority of folks are going to show up and start doing their late morning afternoon, drive time PM shows a little bit later in the day. But as of right now, I am one of 3 people that are broadcasting. So I will preface this conversation with all of that and now get into the conversation. This event feels scaled down. Okay? Still a wonderful event. Still spectacular, still set up well, still organized, still efficient as it always has been, and still very much appreciated them having us here. But it feels scaled down, all right? It's in a smaller venue. I have said a number of times, million reasons why there might be a venue change. Other place may have had a bigger event come in and say, we want to get booked here. May have been an effort to avoid being downtown. I know that there are 2 major events happening. In fact, I think tomorrow former President Trump is in town for a rally. I think there's another political rally downtown as well. May have just wanted to avoid the downtown area because of the multiple major events that are taking place there. Any number of reasons that this event may be here this year, but it is a smaller venue. Number 2, Radio Row is smaller. That may be, as I've been thinking about this since the whole thing's set up. Lonzo, that might just be because there's less room here, right? There's just less availability. And I will say, as I look around the room, what I am noticing is that this year, unlike the last 2 years, there's not really any podcasters set up. And that's not, I'm a big podcast guy. That's not me pooping on podcasters. I'm not going to do that. I love a good podcast, but I'm looking around and it's all radio stations that are down here, right? Like last year, there were a lot of the ACC Champion Show or whatever. There's a lot of like podcast and YouTube exclusives. I don't see that right now. Everything I see set up around here is radio stations. Now, again, there is another media room that is set up for print media. It is a media workroom, right? So it's you don't broadcast in there. You plug a computer in and you type. But down here in the radio pit, I'm looking. Really, I don't actually, now that I'm looking, I don't see any. I see a couple of like radio specific shows, but I don't really see any podcast. So it may be that this year they were like smaller venue, less room. We're going to get rid of the podcasting element and it's just going to be credentialed radio stations. But even still, it is a scaled back event. And I have given a couple of theories on this. The first is, the ACC's got us. Actually, the one theory is the ACC's got to save money. I have 2 reasons for that. The first I gave in the last segment. The first I gave is you're being dramatically outpaced by the SEC and the Big Ten. That's obvious. You are now getting outpaced by the Big 12. The Big 12 journalists are reporting that the payouts for the Big 12 are going to be bigger than the payouts for the ACC. So if you're the ACC and you want to grow that profit to the absolute maximum available, you want to stash every gold coin you can pick up into a bank so you can split that up amongst the schools. The second thing is the legal fees for these lawsuits are going to be big. All right. They're going to be big, and they're going to be bigger if Florida State and Clemson find a way to win them. And I don't know that this is the case. And we'll check in with John Blau coming up here in a little bit less than an hour, and we'll see if he's got any information on this. When lawsuits like these are either adjudicated, settled, or a ruling is handled down, very frequently the damaged party ends up being owed their legal fees from the damager. If Florida State and Clemson find a way to win these lawsuits, and remember, lawsuits, because they both have filed one in their respective counties, Leon County, Florida, home of Tallahassee, Pickens County, South Carolina, home of Clemson, and then the ACC countersued both of those schools in Mecklenburg County, where I am, Charlotte, North Carolina. If FSU and Clemson find a way to win these lawsuits, and they get, if they end up finding a judge that just has got a change of heart and awards them their legal fees as part of the ruling and or settlement, the ACC is going to be down in the hole even further. And I just wonder, Great One, how much, if any, those 2 financial obligations, one that is definite, one that is potential, I wonder if this scaled down event is a response to the financial burdens that are finding their way into the ACC as we enter an era where they might find themselves fighting for their existence like the Pac-2 is in the next year or two.
I don't want to downplay your theory as far as I think it's scaled down because of venue. And since you mentioned the political things going on, it would be a nightmare for you to get in and out of there with all that stuff, especially with heightened security as it should be. But I can't recall if you were actually there where we haven't been on mornings for a year yet, have we?
Correct. Last year at this event, I was in the 9 to noon slot.
So the thing is, you haven't been there during the time when it should be bustling. So I'll be interested to hear your report tomorrow about how it picked up. Now, if it doesn't pick up, then for sure you're right. But
and I think I said last segment, and I apologize for cutting you off. I think I said last segment, and I'm going to stick with here, Zoe. I'll have a better idea around noon, right? Like I'm going to hang out here until Cole Bryson and Diesel come on for Wire to Wire. I'll probably sit in for a segment or two with them at some point since I'll be here covering the whole event. I will have a better impression by the time Wire to Wire rolls around. I think we'll have a better impression of everything. What I am gauging this off of right now is two things. Number one, the approach to the venue. Last year, bigger venue. They had the big ACC, like three-dimensional block thing. I don't know how to describe it, but like a big freestanding ACC statue, whatever, out front. And they had the flags and the banners and all. They had a whole lobby where they had mannequins wearing the uniforms and the helmets of all the teams in the conference. None of that's here. None of that's here. I came in the front of the hotel. None of that's here. So even, I don't know how to phrase it better than this, even the decorations have been scaled down this year. And even when I went up the stairs, and now I have not explored the whole back half of the upstairs where this event is taking place. But where I am in the pit, upstairs around the radio, or around the TV set area, it's not the same, man. It's not the same. And it maybe is because they were obligated to go to a smaller venue and there's just not the room for all that. And that's a possibility. I will have a better idea by 3:00, but I will tell you as somebody who has been here now for 3 hours and 49 minutes and the hotel is starting to pick up in terms of business, it ain't that busy. So there you go. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I posit the theory that this conference knows that there's a storm ahead. That was really dramatic. I'm sorry that I was so dramatic. But you know what? I'm going to roll with it. This conference knows there's a storm ahead, right? They know there's the lawsuits. The lawsuits are problematic. They know that Florida State and Clemson won out. They know if Florida State and Clemson find a way out, then everybody else who wants out too is just going to file the same lawsuit, go through the same process, get the same judgment, and the same result. That's North Carolina. That's Miami. There is some belief amongst some in this business that a large chunk of the North Carolina legislature, if North Carolina gets out, will say, if you catch an invite to a new conference, you can only go if you take NC State with you. There is some belief that they will do the same thing for Duke. That means those two schools will be out. And then if you are left in a spot where you have Boston College, Cal, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Pitt, SMU, Stanford, Syracuse, I think Virginia Tech would probably get an invite. And I think you may have Virginia tagging along as a travel partner with them. So the schools I just mentioned, Syracuse, Stanford, SMU, Pitt, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Cal, and Boston College. Lonzo, that's not a conference that's viable, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, the conference is barely that now. It's very top heavy. It has been for a long time. For a while, it was only one team top heavy. But Florida State come along last year, and now you've got them in the mix, And we have to see what Clemson is able to do this year because they haven't been at the top the last 2 years. So if you take those teams out, why am I watching it? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not unfair. It's I mean, if Stanford returns, Stanford had a good couple of years a few years back, right? Like if they can get back, SMU, like a lot of people think SMU is real close to being a good football team again. Louisville with Jeff Brom has been hit or miss, right? They've had a couple of really good quarterbacks come through there over the years. Maybe they get back, but unless all of those schools do it and they all do it at the same time, they're going to have a problem. I mean, they already have a problem, and the problem is not only does he who has the gold make the rules, but on top of that, you got to have money to make money, right? There's the old joke. What's the best way to become a billionaire? Step one, be a millionaire, right? Like it's something we make light of, but the best way to make money is to have money. And if you find yourself in a spot where you are watching the Big 12 pay the schools in that conference dramatically more money than you're able to pay the schools in the ACC, guess what happens? The schools in the Big 12 start pulling away, just like the schools in the SEC and the Big 10 are going to be pulling away from the schools in the Big 12 over the years. That's just the ugly reality of football. So to circle all the way back around, I kind of asked the question here. This event to me feels scaled back. I'll be able to tell you for sure later in the afternoon. But if I'm right, and if it is it a result of a little bit of panic that the other conferences are going to create a gulf between them and this conference that's going to leave this conference floundering and fighting for existence, especially if they can't find a way to lock up FSU, Clemson, and Miami, the three schools that carry the banner, and then the basketball money of North Carolina, Duke, and NC State. We'll find out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I am going to defend Dabo Swinney because after last Tuesday's open house at Clemson, Dabo, for some reason, drew a lot of fire from the national audience. And despite the fact that when Dabo said what he said, I went, duh, of course, he's still getting beat up on. And I'm going to stand up for him a little bit here, and I'm going to do that when we come back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Dabo Swinney of Reading Sports Flash is Alonzo.
Yeah, you should laugh about that. The Atlanta Braves dropped 2 out of 3 games set against St. Louis to start the second half of the season. If I mess up, it means I'm Clemsoning. Game 3 saw rookie Spencer Schwellenbach take the loss, surrendering 7 hits, including 3 home runs in 6 innings. Though he did strike out 8. Atlanta's offensive output combined for 9 hits, but the bigger news was the departure of Ozzie Albies with a fractured wrist. Xander Schauffele captured his second major championship of the year after a bogey-free 4th round 6 under 65 to outpace then leader Billy Horschel. Schauffele ended with a 9 under 275, making him just the 7th golfer ever to win both the PGA Championship and Open Championship in the same year, and the first in the last decade. Hey, check out Wire to Wire this afternoon. They also will be live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. Starting to see traffic slowing down now southbound 85. The Cordell and Cordell construction cam shows a stall right past Highway 14. There's no real backup at this time, but things are definitely slowing through Pelham Road. Downtown Greenville, 29 Wade Hampton stacks up around North Church and East Stone, and North Church is really slow around I-385. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Bourbon, bacon. It's an unlikely combination, but don't knock it until you try it. Don't miss the Bourbon and Bacon Fest, Friday, September 27th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. It's an evening of sampling bourbons and whiskeys from local, new, and well-known distilleries, while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants in our...
No, I mean, I can take them out, Stephen, but you're just going to hear me breathing, which might be a normal thing, I guess. Which hearing me breathing is better than me not breathing? At least I think so.
Bah! There's no chance, right? Losing weight's hard to do.
By the way, Rob, those things that you wanted us to give away, they don't have us listed giving them away until Thursday. Yeah, I saw the email, but the way it's set up, it'd be a pain in the butt to actually do that.
Okay, we don't have to do any today. We can get them set up, but we have 5 of them between now and next Wednesday. So if you want to do them all next week, I can do that.
Well, we can. They don't have us with 5. They have us. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, in promo suite, they have us with 3. So. Okay, well, he can.
If they only have set up for 3, we'll do 3, and then I'll tell Roy, hey man, you set us up for 3 and have him add more if we need to do more. I'm good with that.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3. That's all I see. I know. The owl taught me that with the Tootsie Roll Pops. So, here's the thing, Steven. Because Rob did not hook one certain thing up, you're not going to be able to do that. But one thing that Cole and Diesel have been doing every Wednesday is having a certain setup. So I bet when they get there, they'll know what it is and be able to fix it. And then we won't have this problem tomorrow.
All right, so they can't hear me in the break. Is that what
They can only hear you through my utility. So if I turn you up, they'll be able to hear you. But all right, come back.
Man, check this out. Your unofficial
They can hear you during the actual show.
Represents being real. Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. Lockdown. This is the Rob Brown Show. Get robbed. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Here we go. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate, live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of the ACC football kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days. Great to have you guys along for the ride. I am Rob Brown, the Griffin Lonzo, back in the network studio, the palatial Fan Upstate studios, holding the fort down, sans me this AM, as we will be here in Charlotte for the next 4 days, kinda. We will be out on Wednesday, as Lonzo and I had a previous engagement scheduled, which I'm going to say required us to be off on Wednesday morning. So no show on Wednesday, though Diesel and Cole will be here on Wednesday and do the show wire to wire in the afternoons. Diesel and Cole will be live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The Rob Brown Show will be live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, off on Wednesday, but we will be here Thursday morning for the final day of ACC Media Days. That is the day that the Clemson Tigers will be coming to town, and we do have, I will tell you now, officially scheduled and on the books, we do have interviews with both Dabo Sweeney and Cade Klubnik that I will record for you coming up on Thursday. Those interviews will be played for you during Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel on Thursday afternoon. And then when Lonzo and I return on Monday morning, we will then replay those interviews for you on Monday with our thoughts attached to them as well. So that's what we got coming up for you this week. It is going to be busy here at ACC Media Days. A little bit different than years gone by. Because in years gone by, the Great One and I have been at a different time slot. Year number 1, I was 12 to 3. Year number 2, 9 to noon. And here we are in year number 3 in the morning drive slot from 6 to 10 a.m. every weekday right here and only on the Fan Upstate. Don't know why I needed the FM DJ voice. What are you going to do? The event does not begin until 10 a.m. every day, technically. So what is going to happen is that we will do the show live 6 to 10, 3 of the 4 mornings, today, tomorrow, and Thursday. What we will do is record interviews with players, head coaches, ACC media talent, commissioner I am hoping to get on later in the week, etc. We will record all of these interviews between the 2 shows. Some of those interviews will run live for you on Wire to Wire in the afternoon. Some of those interviews will run the next morning. As we get them, as we record them, and as we schedule them on the shows throughout the day, we will make the announcement of what interviews will be playing when so that you guys can tune in to hear them. We will also be posting all of them to our social media pages as well. So make sure you're following us across all of them as we cover ACC Media Days, ACC football kickoff here live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So let me get to this conversation. On Saturday, I was driving around lovely Greenville, South Carolina. And on Saturday evening, late afternoon, I popped into the car, and wouldn't you know it, on the all-new Infinity Sports Network, who did I hear hosting national radio but Detroit, Michigan's own Mark Ryan? And Mark said going into a break, when we come back, I'm going to defend Dabo Swinney. And I went,
wait. That's so unusual. We've never heard that before. Yeah. I mean, ever. Yeah. Wow. I mean to go back on the Odyssey app and listen to that for the first time ever. Okay. All right.
I heard that.
My interest has been piqued.
Correct. I heard that sentence out of the mouth of my former colleague, my still friend, my comrade, my partner, Mark Ryan. And I said, what? You're gonna do what now? And so I, quite literally, not a joke, pulled my vehicle over on the side of the road. And I waited through the break, and I cranked the volume up to 11, and I said, what in the world is he about to do? Ladies and gentlemen, the art of the tease was perfected by Mark Ryan. Now, the tease worked a little bit better because I know Mark, and that's not a thing I expected him to say. So I said, let's find out what he's about to talk. And when he came back, he said, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mark Ryan live from Detroit, Michigan. Pretty good impression, if I may say so.
Wow. It was like I looked away from the stream, and I thought he suddenly was back on the air here.
Pretty good impression, if I may say so myself. So what he went on to say was that Dabo Swinney is taking some fire. Fire. Can't play my sounder, so I had to roll with that. Taking some fire from the national media. You know, the national media. You got to say it that way. Taking some fire for the national media for the comments that he made at Clemson's open house last Tuesday. A Clemson open house that I was at alongside my dear friend C Money, Cole Bryson, one half of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole every single weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 right here on the Fan Upstate. Apparently, there was a wee bit of attention paid to the comments of one Dabo Swinney. And that the quote that seemed to grab America by the you-know-what's was the unintended consequences quote of Dabo Swinney. Now, if you don't remember that particular quote, worry not, dear friends. I shall refresh your memory, as that is what I am here to do. Dabo said there are unintended consequences of the playoff expansion. Dabo Swinney got asked by a member of the media at the open house, Dabo, will the expanded playoffs change the way you do things? Will it change your philosophy? Will it change the way that your coaching staff approaches the season? And Dabo said, no. It's not going to change the way that we approach football. It's not going to change the way that we approach coaching the boys. It's not going to change the way that we approach any given Saturday. But the expanded college football playoffs will have unintended consequences. And the one that he brought up initially was this. He brought up initially, and we talked about this on the show a little bit last week, his belief, or at least he proposed the theory that you're going to start seeing players sit for rivalry weekend. Zoe and I brought this conversation up. I asked Zoe the question, how would you react if the Ohio State Buckeyes were entering the game against the Michigan Wolverines on a Saturday? It's Thanksgiving Saturday. We put away the turkey, put away the ham, put away the mashed taters. We're all sitting down together on a Saturday. And you're getting ready for Big Noon Saturday. And on comes Ryan Day. And Ryan Day gets on the mic. Urban Meyer says to Ryan Day, what's your coaching strategy in this game against the Michigan Wolverines, coach? And Ryan Day says, well, I'm going to be real honest with you here, Herb. We're already locked into the Big Ten championship game. We already know we're playing for the Big Ten championship. And we also know that if we're playing for the Big Ten championship and we win that SOB, we get a first-round bye in the college football playoffs. We don't have to play a first-round game. We can sit home, rest, relax, get healthy, take an ice bath, hit the hot tub, whatever we want to do. So here's the game plan for the weekend, Herb. The game plan is we're going to play our second stringers and third stringers. We're going to play our young guys. We're going to play our backups. We're going to get them some XP. We're going to get them some real game experience, because a week from today, we play for a Big Ten championship in a game that if we win, our road to the college football playoff gets a little bit shorter and a little bit straighter. We're going to sit the boys against Michigan. And I asked Lonzo, your reaction to that hypothetical quote from Ryan Day would be what?
And I'm still ticked about it. Just stop bringing that up as a scenario.
Right.
Just stop it.
Right. See, here's the thing. This is why it's very interesting. Because if we're being intellectually honest with each other, and I know that there are going to be some groups of people, and I even think Lonzo might be in the smaller of the two groups here. Zoe, if I told you right now that I can guarantee you a win, and you get to pick as a Buckeye fan, you can guaranteed win the Michigan game. No guarantee for the playoffs. Or I can guarantee you a college football national championship win. The trophy is yours to lift, great one. Which of those two wins would you rather take?
All right, so the smart thing to say would be the national championship, because that's what everyone's goal is. But the fact that Ohio State hasn't beat Michigan in a couple years, I'm going to go that way.
Okay. That is why I correctly predicted that Lonzo would be in the smaller
But here's the thing. If you beat Michigan, and chances are you're undefeated at that point, you're still going to the playoffs. So your scenario just doesn't work.
That's not necessarily true.
Oh, right? It's absolutely true.
What if you guys go into that game 9-2? You're not, but what if you did? And on top of that, let's say that's true. Let's say beating Michigan, guaranteed, you're going to the playoffs for sure. I don't mean a damn thing. So's Georgia, so's Alabama, so's LSU, so's Tennessee, so's Michigan. right? Like you still have to play, as the college football playoffs is going to be more often than it's not. You still got to play. Even if you get the bye by winning the Big Ten, you still got to play. You go from the round of 12 down to the round of 6, down to the round of 4, down to 2. You still got to win 3 games in what will be a murderer's row of college football teams. If I guarantee you a national championship game, I am going to say, and I'm willing to test this theory with fans over the next handful of days, and I don't even have, and I should, and I do now. The text line pulled up, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. I'll read them on the air. Texters to the Rob Brown radio program. If I was to, South Carolina fans, guarantee you a win over Clemson at the end of the year, but nothing as far as the postseason, or I was to guarantee you a national championship win, but nothing before that, which one are you taking? And here's the thing, Lonzo, just so we're all clear on the, well, if A, then B, just because I'm guaranteeing you a natty doesn't mean you don't have a fair opportunity to beat Michigan too, right? Like, just like if you beat Michigan, you're guaranteed in the playoffs. If you win a title, you can still beat Michigan and then win your guaranteed national championship. So you can still go win that game. The point here is, I think that if I asked people, the majority, I'm going to say majority of college football fans, if I was to ask them, I can guarantee you, I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. You got to rub me the right way. If I was to guarantee you a win of a national championship or guarantee you a win in a rivalry game, I'm willing to bet the majority of people would say, I want the natty. I'll risk it for the biscuit with the rival. I want to guarantee the natty. That is, while it doesn't guarantee you a natty, that is kind of the strategy that I think Dabo Swinney was bringing up. It is a strategy we see play out in the National Football League every single year. Every year we get to week 18, and every year there's a big rivalry game. It's Green Bay, Chicago, it's New Orleans, Atlanta, it's whatever, right? It's San Francisco, LA, it's Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Every year there's a rivalry game in week 18 where one of those teams has already locked in their playoff spot. Can't improve or decrease the seed. They're the 3 seed. There's no moving up. There's no moving back. Result of this game doesn't matter. If you're already in the ACC championship game, if you're Clemson, the result of the South Carolina game is irrelevant. Now, it matters to you sentimentally. It matters to you emotionally. It matters to you in terms of pride. It matters to you in terms of the ability to talk bleep around the state for the rest of the year. Sure. And those are all things that as fans matter to us. But as Lonzo pointed out, you don't have to like this. But the reality of college football is now that for the big teams, I'm not talking about, with all due respect, I'm not talking about to the Vanderbilts of the world, at least not yet. To the big teams, it is now a postseason driven sport. But it's been that way since the BCS, dudes, right? Like, it's been that way since the BCS, maybe even arguably before that, but definitely since the BCS, this has been a postseason-driven sport. And when this sport went international, certainly when it went national, but definitely when it went international, the game changed. It's a postseason-driven sport now. And as much as if I'm a Clemson fan, I want to beat the Gamecocks. If I'm a South Carolina fan, I want to beat the Tigers. I'd rather win a national championship. And so if my team's got the ability to rest up and go play healthy in an ACC title game, or Gamecocks can dream, rest up and go play in an SEC championship game on a week's rest. As Lonzo has pointed out, despite the fact that he would take the guarantee over Michigan before he would take the guarantee of the natty, the smart, logical, practical thing to do is sit the boys during the rivalry game and be 100% healthy once you have locked in your spot in the conference championship game. That's the logical thing to do. Where Dabo Swinney started taking some heat, I think, was people who are not mad at Dabo, but mad at the realization, a realization that, as far as I am concerned, they could have made years ago. The realization that this is now a postseason focused sport. It is now a playoff focused sport, just like the NFL. I've been telling you guys for years, college football is just like the NFL, and it has been for a very long time. People just didn't want to accept it. So I think what happened with this press conference is that Dabo, by saying the thing, became the target of frustrations that college football fans hold for the sport itself, but they don't want to be mad at the sport. They want to be mad at something else. They don't want to come out here and say into the radio or on the airwaves or text into the show, college football stinks now and I don't like it. They need a boogeyman. They need a bad guy. And even though Dabo Swinney is probably on your side, to be honest with you, he's the guy that said the thing that brought up the conversation. Therefore, he's the guy to throw the bombs at. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know why they go in that direction, but that's what happened. So let me be clear. Everything Dabo Swinney said was correct. All the intended consequences he brought up was correct. All of those things are true. Dabo's on your side, guys. He didn't like it either. He's made that abundantly clear. Now, when we come back, there was one more thing that my former colleague, current friend Mark Ryan said on his show on Saturday that I would also like to respond to, and it's in regards to everybody who doesn't make the playoffs, specifically those players and teams who know in like week 6 they're not going to the playoff. What's that change to college football going to look like? We'll address it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
You're listening. more on the Odyssey app.
Okay,
Make
come
the
back.
Fan Upstate a favorite.
Live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of this year's ACC Media Days football kickoff. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is mine. Lovely to have you here on the show. Defended Dabo. Happy to defend Dabo because I think Dabo is drawing the ire of a bunch of fans that really, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a jerk, don't know where to put the ire that they have about college football right now. And Dabo's the guy who said the thing that they don't like, and for whatever reason he's taking heat. I don't get it, right? Like Paul Feinbaum said that he's get off my lawn guy now, and his comments were dumb. And Dabo, you used to be the guy, the voice, the reason, and now you're just an old grumpy dude. And I'm like, is he really? Or is he a guy who just pointed out something that is an obvious, logical conclusion to what has happened in college football? Now, I point my metaphorical finger guns back the other direction, because there were some other things that my former colleague, Mark Ryan, well, I guess current colleague, former coworker, Mark Ryan said. He said the other thing that's been making the rounds, which is, Dabo said this as well, we are going to get to a point where a team's going to go 4-4 through the first 8 weeks. And after they go 4-4 through the first 8 weeks, you're going to start seeing starters who are going to say, all right, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not playing now, right? We're 4-4. We can't go to the postseason. We're not going to the playoff. We can't win a conference championship. I'm out. I'm going to head to, what did Dabo say? They're going to go to Arizona and start prepping for the NFL. Well, I 100% acknowledge that is a not just realistic possibility. I would argue it's a realistic probability that you're going to start seeing NFL-graded draft prospects that when their team is bounced from the playoffs, although you're not technically bounced from the playoffs till the season's over and the selection committee picks the 12, if you're 4-4 through 8, you're not going. All right? Like, it's not the bar for making the playoff is not going to drop that far. So if a team pick one, I'm going to look at the banners around us. Let's say, I don't know, Virginia Tech. Let's say Virginia Tech wins 4 in a row, right? A couple of FCS games. Maybe they catch a Cuse early, right? They're 4-0. And then let's say they drop 4 in a row because then they got Clemson and then they got Florida State and then they got an out of conference against South Carolina, whatever. Then they drop 4. They're 4-4. They're out of the playoffs. They can't go anymore. Well, if they have an NFL first-round caliber quarterback at the quarterback position, yeah, he's going to go. And Mark Ryan said, and I quote, "We are raising a nation of quitters. We are raising a nation of people who believe that it's okay to quit." And I went, don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it.
Hey,
I get it, but I don't love it.
Didn't he quit here? I mean, you could just say it's a promotion, but was it? Didn't he kind of? I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna let you go down that path. I wonder if I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what he did. So,
here is what I will say.
Out of the blue, by the way, just like a kid going, yeah, I'm just going to Arizona.
Peace. Later.
Instead, he went to Detroit. I mean, it's
going to train.
Yeah. He kind of did this thing that he's saying that they're going to do. Just saying.
Here's where I landed on that.
I'm sorry. You're trying to figure out how to recover from that. That's. I mean,
It's that I do. Yes, to some degree, I am going to be very cautious about how I say things, but also you're not wrong, right? Like, he got the opportunity to go to a bigger market, which in this business is considered a better job, right? Going to pay more. It's going to have more responsibility. He's going to have better compensation. And he took it and he left, right? Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't know if Mark Ryan's contract was up or not with us. I don't know. It's not my business. It's not my business to know, and I don't care. He made a decision. And for the record, just like with the college football players, I don't care. My man had the opportunity to go to a bigger market, and in this industry, that's a better job. He took it and he ran with it. Good for him. Good for him, right? So I kind of feel the same way in this situation. Do these kids sign scholarships to play football? Yes, of course they do. At the same time, and I will acknowledge that I am, Lonzo, I am conflicted on this, right? On the flip side, are they obligated to risk? Because I think the number of college football players that we are talking about here is a very small number, right? Like, I feel like everybody thinks that Virginia Tech's going to go 4-4, and then they're going to make the announcement that football's canceled because all 150 whatever players quit. They all quit. No, there's going to be like four dudes on the best teams. There's going to be like four dudes that are going to go, deuces, I'm out. If you are a sophomore with an NFL grade, it does not behoove you to stop playing. Right? You need tape, you need film, you need development, you need to play, you need to learn the game and get better at the game. If you're a junior who's draft eligible, if you're a senior who's draft eligible and you got a first round grade, let's say you're a Bo Nix, right? You're Bo Nix, you got a first round grade. And let's be real, Bo Nix most years, to me, not a first round grade, second round guy most years. But this year, good but not great crop of quarterbacks. It bumped him up to a first-round grade. If Oregon would have started last year, though, 4-4, is Bo Nix obligated to put millions of dollars of potential earnings on the line so that Oregon fans are entertained?
Well, he's an employee of Oregon, and he can make that decision to move on to another job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as we just pointed out earlier, someone that we know did the same thing. So we didn't question his loyalty to this place. We didn't say, you let the team down. We just moved on because that's what you do.
Yep. All exactly correct. Right. To me, I was listening to that whole thing and I'm just like, it's harsh, man. It's harsh because, and I've said this before, I am fine if you guys need to use the term employee in order to have this discussion, fine. I'll use the term employee. I'm good with it. In no other business, none, do we have an issue when somebody says, I've got an opportunity to make something of myself, to make more money, to be in a better job, to be in a spot where it's, it's better for my family, or it's somewhere I've wanted to live my whole life, or whatever. In no other spot do we fault that. When you go to the barbershop and you find out that your favorite hairstylist has moved on to a new place to make more money, you don't go, how selfish. What a jerk. She's a quitter. He's a quitter. Lack of commitment. You go, good for them. And then you find somebody else to step in and do that job for you. This is the one place where people have decided they need to plant their flag on, I don't want them to have a better opportunity. They should stick it out here. Why? Because I said so. And I'm going to wave my flag as I am the moral compass of America to make everybody feel guilty for feeling the other way. We got to run to a break. When we come back, John Blau of the Post and Courier, we'll talk to him about this. He was at Clemson's media open house last Tuesday. He heard these comments. We'll ask his thoughts on that, talk and update you on where we stand in the lawsuit process, and ask what he thinks we might hear from Dabo when he speaks to us on Thursday. Live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina, I am Rob Brown. Lonzo back in the studio. It's the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
New life.
Hey, Alexa, Google, or Siri, play 97 The Fan Upstate.
just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1.
By the way, I was going through one of the cases. Chris put one of those cables into this case.
Okay.
So I will be able to tomorrow plug that in. So that would be Comrex through that cable into computer, change the mic input to that, and then I would run the sound to the stream through the Comrex. So you would send everything to me, and then I would read it, and you would be using the case. Is that correct?
That is my understanding. Also, again, Cole and Diesel do it every Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, so, yeah, ask them. 30 seconds.
Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
always live from the Free Odyssey. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Rise and shine, sports fans. Let's drink! Grab your coffee and get a jolt of sports on the Rob Brown Show with Lonzo. Now, weekday morning 6 to 10 on the Fan Upstate.
It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of the ACC football kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days. We are here all the way through the end of ACC Media Days, which is on Thursday, and that is the day that the Clemson Tigers will arrive. We have already got our interview scheduled with Dabo Sweeney. We've got an interview scheduled with Cade Klubnik. We will put those in the can for you on Thursday, run them Thursday afternoon. But before Clemson gets here, we're going to talk with a young man who covers them extensively for the Post and Courier. He is John Blau, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. John, my man, good to have you back, bud. How's life in the fast lane? And are you coming up to Charlotte to join us for this little party?
Literally after I hang up the phone with you, I am driving up to Charlotte. So yeah, I'll be there for the commissioner. I think he speaks at 1 p.m. I just obviously want to hear what he has to say about the lawsuits with Clemson and FSU and get that perspective. So yeah, I'll definitely be there today, and I'll definitely be there on Thursday for Clemson.
Love it. Look forward to shaking the hand and talking to John Blau in person. Let's jump on that at the beginning. I was talking a little bit about this earlier this morning, John. Like, what a weird situation, kind of like bumping into your ex at a party that you can't leave, right? Like, here's Clemson and Florida State at ACC Media Days. The ACC on one hand trying to celebrate FSU and Clemson as members of this institution, while on the other hand, 5 minutes away, there's a courthouse where there's multi-million-dollar lawsuits with those two schools taking place. Where are we? Has there been any change? I know we're kind of at a slow period right now, but has there been any update on these lawsuits, and what do you expect to hear the commissioner say about them today?
Yeah, really no update thus far. Obviously, where it stands is the North Carolina judge said that the ACC can sue Clemson there, and the South Carolina judge said that Clemson can sue the ACC there. So both of those suits are ongoing. Both sides are going to appeal each of those rulings, trying to get it in the state in which they want it to be. But yeah, those things have not happened. I mean, I saw earlier this morning, ESPN's Pete Thamel put out a report. They talked to sources, and that there's no expectation that Clemson or FSU are going to, by the August 15th deadline, say they're leaving to try to get out by 2025. The lawsuits are just very much stuck for a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I would think Jim Phillips will be asked about just the chaos in the league, the lack of unity in terms of having two members that are currently suing you, how you deal with that. If a settlement is anywhere near imminent, questions like that I would expect would be asked. And it'll be interesting to see how he kind of, toes that line in terms of obviously trying to project strength and as much unity as possible, but at the same time kind of acknowledging reality, which is there is some discontent there.
I mean, it's not just discontent, John. We were kind of running through some hypotheticals earlier this morning. And while I don't think I agree, I don't think it's going to be 2025 that these two schools get out. I do think they're out by 2026. If that becomes the case, I mean, I don't want to say the ACC becomes irrelevant, because I do think if Florida State and Clemson figure it out, I think obviously North Carolina's following, Miami's following. North Carolina may have NC State come with them by legislative mandate. We'll find out. But if Florida State and Clemson find their way out, it kind of feels to me like the ACC immediately goes the way of the Pac-2. Like any hope that they're going to exist in a couple of years becomes disillusioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were hoping by bringing in SMU, Cal, Stanford, you kind of staved off death for a little bit in terms of, increasing your numbers to kind of help yourself if you do lose numbers, whether there's, some poaching that could be had from like the Mountain West or one of those conferences is kind of one notch below them. I mean, that would be interesting to see. Obviously, the Big 12 is in the same competition with them, trying to add as many teams as possible and make sure they're fit to survive past this next phase of realignment. But yeah, no, it would be, I think I've used the word existential a couple times for the ACC. I mean, if Clemson and FSU were to find a way out, absolutely, the North Carolinas, the Virginias, the maybe the NC States, like you said, Miami, all those schools would be trying to find a way out as well, because the conference is just so much weakened. You want to be in one of those power, two conferences, if possible. If the Big 12 is the one that survives to make it somewhat a power three, to power three. You don't want to be, sitting in the boat with the leaks in it and end up sinking into the ocean. So, it's definitely, again, a really big deal for the ACC to try to do whatever it can to hold on to these properties as long as possible and find a way to maybe increase some revenue and edge out the Big 12. But yeah, if it does happen, it does become a very murky future in terms of what the ACC is, and if it can survive as some kind of second or third tier conference is kind of an open question.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. And obviously right now, Clemson's still a part of the Atlantic Coast Conference. What does Thursday look like for these schools, John Blau? I mean, Florida State today, Clemson going on Thursday. Obviously, you were there last week at the Open House Media Day hosted by Clemson, and Dabo had some things about unintended consequences and how big of a deal he thought those things could be, etc. Do you think we're pretty much going to get the same thing out of Dabo Swinney when he shows up on Thursday?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, obviously, there's a huge reaction to some of the things Dabo says on, at a Tuesday presser or whatever. And I've heard him say these things about 10 times. And so it doesn't even strike me as that newsworthy. And then, everybody's talking about what Dabo had to say about the CFP. I mean, he's been saying this for a couple of years in terms of that if you expand it, it's going to have these meaningless games like in the NFL where do you play guys, do you not play guys? He said this a lot, and he'll say it again if he's asked on Thursday. He'll say it again about the ACC's lawsuits with FSU and Clemson, that it's way above his head. He's got pretty canned answers for a lot of these things. I mean, the good thing is he's pretty honest, and he will go in depth with you no matter how many times he's said it. So he'll give us some pretty good quotes. I'm sure there'll be a couple of news bites to come out of it, whether it's about NIL or the portal or the playoff or all of that. I mean, it's definitely an interesting time in college football, and Dabo Swinney has never failed to be a lightning rod that people take his comments and have a lot to say about him.
I think my favorite part about that, John, was that I don't really think Dabo was even saying like we should do or we should not do. We need more of, we need less of. He just kind of, to me, it felt like he just kind of presented a hypothetical in that spot, which was, look, we might end up in a spot where rivalry weekend takes a back seat because somebody's already punched a ticket to the conference championship. We might end up in a spot where a 4-4 team has an NFL caliber quarterback who says, I'm not playing for a 4-4 team. I'll go get ready for the draft, whatever the case might be. I didn't think he really took a stance so much as he just presented hypotheticals. So I don't really understand why Dabo's getting dunked on here, because the things he said to me, they made sense.
Yeah, and I think, though, that it does come with the context that everybody knows Dabo is a traditionalist to a certain extent. He has expressed, a little bit of sadness that some of the meaningfulness of bowl games and, the fact that, certain regular season games might not matter. And, I think he very much liked the model the way it was about 10 years ago, and obviously it's all changing with the expanding playoff and obviously the portal and kind of the lack of focus on education and people wanting money, quick money, rather than looking long term and development of the person and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff that I think anytime Dabo says this stuff, I think people turn to, oh, here's just Dabo whining again about how college football isn't the way it used to be. When, like you said, I mean, I think it really just truly just comes from his perspective that there were good things and there are good things about the college model, the way they are, the way they were. He does kind of, like you said, just present the negative consequences of some of these things happening. And yeah, people, again, like I hear it every week for a year or two. And so it doesn't really strike me sometimes. It's like the most major thing he said in the last however long. But anytime it kind of gets into the national spotlight, people are going to have their reactions just because Dabo tends to be just a polarizing figure, the way he says things and the way people react to it.
John Blau from the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show. All right, John, quick left-hand turn before we let you get on the road up here to Charlotte. Don't worry, I'll save a seat for you at the lunch table. A couple of contracts handed out, contract extensions handed out by Clemson. Brad Brownell has caught the extension. Eric Bakich has caught the extension. Both of these guys, obviously, immense postseason success that earned them these extensions, which is interesting for specifically Brad Brownell, a guy that coming into the season, is this a hot seat year for Brad? Is this a year that could put him on the hot seat, etc.? Clemson goes on a run, deserves, if you ask most Clemson fans, I think, deserves the contract extension. Was this a pretty easy decision for the powers that be to come to keep Brad Brown around for another few years?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting it to happen like a week or two after the run ended in the tournament. But I mean, I think Brad was so busy with the transfer portal and obviously you had everything else going on with the House settlement and Clemson's lawsuits and stuff. There could be a million things that kind of delayed this. But yeah, I definitely expected, a contract extension. You can't be the only coach in history of the program to take a team to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and not get an extension. Obviously, there's a fraction of the fan base that was kind of, not thrilled about his tenure, 3 tournaments and 13 seasons. Now it's 4 and 14. People are going to compare this to like a Frank Martin situation in South Carolina where he had one great run. And all of a sudden he's there way too long. It remains to be seen whether it turns out that way, but you have to reward a guy when he has results. He's obviously had results in terms of getting to an Elite 8, very close to getting to a Final Four. I mean, they were up in that game against Alabama, and the Crimson Tide just went on a crazy hot streak shooting the ball. And so, yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be here now for a while. I mean, very well, if he plays out this entire contract, would be here for a full 2 decades as the coach at Clemson, which is just crazy longevity in this era of college sports. You just don't see it very often. But yeah, I mean, you do what you do in March Madness like you did. You most definitely get yourself off the hot seat, and you probably deserve a raise, and he got it, and we'll see kind of how it plays out.
And by the way, as a side note, Mike Noonan got himself a little bit of a raise as well. We've had Mike on the show a couple of times. I don't know, John, how much, if any, of interaction you've had with Mike Noonan, but I'm gonna tell you right now, he's one of my favorite people on campus, man. He's great. Yeah,
I've heard he has a great taste in music, and he got a nice like $600,000 a year contract, which is pretty nice for a men's soccer coach. I think he actually gets a $100,000 bonus if he wins another national championship. So he can make some serious money, continue to win like he does. And I just love too that there was a little tidbit in there where he gets a free membership at Greenville Country Club. So he's playing golf for free as well. And so he's having a great life. That's for sure.
Oh, poor guy. By the way, Mike, if you're listening, I'm available Friday mornings. I'm off. We are talking to John Blau from the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. John, my man, as always, thank you for the time, brother. Get on the road, be safe, and I'll save you a spot at the lunch table when you get here, partner.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. John Blau from the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. We got to take our last top of the hour break. When we come back in the final hour of the show, we'll get a little bit away from college football. Got a few more sports topics. Got to talk about this Team USA game against Sudan. What? Huh? So we'll talk about that. talk a little more golf, get into NASCAR at Pocono this week, or excuse me, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend, and more. It is all coming up after Lonzo blows your minds with the incredibleness that is this Sports Flash.
Yeah, that's actually a word. I'll look it up later. Xander Schauffele captured his second major championship of the year after a bogey-free fourth round, 665 to outpace then leader Billy Horschel. Schauffele ended with a 900-275, making him just the seventh golfer ever to win both the PGA Championship and Open Championship in the same year, and the first in the last decade. I popped my P's on purpose. CJ Stroud will be getting some help in Houston as the Texans have signed former Rams running back Cam Akers to a contract. Details of the deal aren't known. Akers joins a running back stable that already includes former Pro Bowler Joe Mixon and third-year man Damian Pierce. Hey, make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. as Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel are live from ACC Media Days, where they'll get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news, all Wire to Wire.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell Jam Cam shows you'll slam on your brakes southbound 85 between Brockman, McClyman, and Highway 14. Once you get past 14, you'll pick up speed a bit through Pelham. Traffic is sluggish northbound 85 at Piedmont, and Whitehorse is also having some issues around 185. Spartanburg's got it going on with no traffic problems. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Spring is here, and the best upstate deal on golf is on sale now.
I don't know. Is that paneling in the background, or is that like polished wood? What is that, walnut? I'm trying to figure it out here. Is that hollow? Is that solid?
Only $80. UpstateGolfCard.com.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could
Rob's
really
having
help him
trouble
in a crunch.
finding the restroom, by the way.
Blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards.
So normally when you're there that early, you know, somebody actually would go and find the restroom before they start the show. But also you're blaming me. Okay.
No. I'm saying I'm good enough to just do it all myself.
Hey, do less with, or do more with less. That's our motto. Okay. You do that. I'm gonna make. Okay. I'm gonna make fun of you while you're gone. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to make fun of him. I'm going to go back to that wall there. So still, I'm going to need some help. Is that walnut? Hello, ma'am. How are you? Dude, what's up? Man, those cords back there, people need to pick their feet up. Someone's bailing. Someone's face planting. That last dude almost lost it. I'm not being a voyeur here. I'm just, I'm watching the screen, which is what I'm supposed to do. You know. I'm surprised Rob hasn't bailed on that. He did say the water was like right over there, and now you don't see him. Now you see him. By the way, you missed it. Old guy nearly bailed on the wire back there behind you. Yeah, it looks pretty raised. There you go. There it is. I mean, it's someone's going down before this day is over, especially this early.
like hit the stumble and like had to take 3 steps to catch himself.
Well, there's an older guy who came through who didn't pick his feet up a whole lot because he probably wasn't capable, and he almost.
Okay, so am I a bad person because I'm realizing like I should probably go tell them put a sign up instead of pointing the camera at it.
I've been trying to figure out, is that walnut? What's that made out of? Is that paneling? What is that?
Upstate.
Yeah, I thought it might have been paneling. I don't know. I think you should go back and kick it.
Man, check this out. Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Here we go. The fourth and final hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular to have you here on a Monday morning as we are live in Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of this year's ACC football kickoff and media days. We've got a busy 4 days upcoming for you. We will be here today. We will be here tomorrow. Off on Wednesday because Rob Brown purchased tickets to go see Creed about 10 months ago. And it happened to coincide with the dates of ACC Media Days. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that as much as I love all of you, and I do, Taylor Swift heart hand emoji, I will do anything for you. I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. And that, in this case, is skipping going to see Creed with the boys on Tuesday night. And then after I had tickets and after Lonzo's pappy decided he wanted to go, we got Lonzo to buy tickets to come see Creed on Tuesday night as well. So we're taking Wednesday off because we'll both need to recover, probably for very different reasons, but recover nonetheless.
There's no probably there. And here's the thing. The truth is, I've never been to a rock concert. And that's why Rob wants to be there and be able to watch every reaction, because I'm sure it's going to be just as interesting as when I go watch wrestling.
Are you, here's my question. Are you going to, Lonzo, are you going to let me paint your fingernails black?
Why is that necessary?
To express yourself through the power of rock and roll.
Is that how that works? Okay, because I don't believe, here's the thing. Yes, Joe on the stream says that I'm going to be up way past my bedtime. We'll see. Probably. My bedtime on the weekend is a lot later than what you would think. I know it's not the weekend, but I don't have to work.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
But I don't have to work Wednesday, which means I will be taking a nap for a good portion of Tuesday to prepare for that. And I will be singing along. So, I mean, I may not have a voice come Thursday.
ACC Media Days. That is where we are right now.
Look at her try to do it subdued.
I know, dude. I'm like looking around. I'm like,
you can't do Creed subdued. Either do it or don't.
Yeah, I looked around immediately. I was like, I probably shouldn't have started, but now I'm committed. Now I got to finish it. What are you going to do?
I might sing so hard when they play Weathered, which is my favorite Creed song, that I might just pass out. So, I mean, there you go. That might be a prediction. Someone please revive me.
A tremendous event Tuesday night, and here's my favorite part, and I haven't even told I've told Lonzo this before the show started, but I haven't told anybody else. As I was packing up the gear, because on Tuesday it's not just Creed, it's also Finger 11 and Switchfoot, which, Finger 11, fine, whatever. Really excited about Switchfoot. I actually like Switchfoot a lot.
Let's go say, don't crack on Switchfoot, man. I am really looking forward to seeing that.
I'm quite excited for Switchfoot. It's Finger 11, take it or leave it. I think they're more pop rock than I'm on board with. Switchfoot, very excited about. So as I was packing up, our buddy Roy Boy from downstairs, our promotions guy, goes, hey, man, are you, what nights are you in Charlotte? And I said, I'll be there Monday night. I'll be there Tuesday night. Nope, sorry, I'll be there Sunday night. I'll be there Monday night, and I'll be there Wednesday night. And he goes, do you want me to look and see if we got tickets to any shows going on? And I said, yes, I do. Please and thank you. Because, like, when I come up here, the event, it's usually wrapped up by, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, every afternoon. And I like to explore, right? In the last few years, I've gotten to see and do most of Charlotte. So the last couple of years, I go to shows, right? I've gone to a couple of plays while I've been up here. I've seen a couple of concerts. Like I've done just different stuff. And he goes, you want me to see if we got tickets to a show? I said, yeah, absolutely I do. Why not? And he goes, cool. And he pops on the computer and tip, tack, tack, tack. And he goes, I got tickets to a concert. He said, all I got's a concert on Wednesday. Do you want to go to a concert? And I was like, bro, absolutely. I love live music. Who's the concert? And he said, Creed. I got you tickets to see Creed. So I want you to know, not only have I waited, I'm going to say roughly, not an exaggeration, 25 years to see Creed. Because I was listening to Creed when Creed was Creed, right? I waited 25 years.
What the heck does that mean? I was listening to Creed when Creed was Creed.
I mean, when like Creed was just like when Creed was a local touring
All
band,
right, time to name drop. Good, just get it out of the way.
I went to school with their bassist, Brian Marshall.
Thank you.
You're welcome. His dad was my orthopedic surgeon when I was a high schooler. So I've known them since like they were quite literally a regional touring band. I'm a big fan. I've been waiting this long. And not only have I waited till Tuesday night to see them, but now I'm seeing them back-to-back nights. Now, I will also say that the other part of the reason I'm going to go see them back-to-back nights is because on Wednesday, when I see Creed here in Charlotte, they are playing alongside Three Doors Down, who I've also never gotten to see and also was a big fan of back in the day. So turns out it's going to be a pretty good weekend for your boy, a pretty good week for your boy, Rob Brown. We will be back here Thursday morning.
Yeah, how much voice will you have after 2 days of Creed? Yeah, that's what I thought. He's holding up a big old 0, which I don't think you can do. I guess it's legal in the stream what you're doing. But anyway, I am concerned about your vocal ability come Thursday.
That is a very fair concern to have. I will do my best to remind myself. Here's what I know. Tuesday night show, I will be watching like I am a frat boy in 2004 all over again. Okay? Tuesday night show, I will be acting like a fool because I'm off on Wednesday. No worries. Wednesday show, I will be taking a little bit more of a professional approach to. All right?
Yeah, you're not on Wednesday.
Losing my mind.
You're not on Wednesday.
Thursday. Well,
Okay.
I meant Wednesday show is in the Creed.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Gotcha.
So
I don't believe
Wednesday's
you.
Creed show, I will do my best not to lose my mind, knowing that I do have to wake up Thursday morning and do a show. I think we'll be okay.
No,
we'll get through it.
We're not. I don't believe that he can take it easy either night, and especially who he's hanging with Tuesday night, and then who he's hanging with Wednesday night. Yeah, he's not taking it easy.
It's the boys, man. It's the boys. All right, let's get into some more stuff here on the show. Let us dive right in with what happened on Saturday. The Olympic basketball team took on, was it North Sudan, South Sudan? One of the directions of Sudan.
One of them, they're Sudans.
Yeah. And it went Sudan bad for Team USA. As they needed a LeBron James, courtesy of a Drew Holiday steal, by the way, a LeBron James breakaway and throw down with 8 seconds left to take a 101-100 lead over the Sudanese.
Let me.
They were favored by 47.5.
Let me real quick do a Mark Ryan. I told you so. Remember we discussed this, and I said LeBron, if he has to, will make sure that they do not lose. And it had to be LeBron to make sure that they did not lose.
I'm going to push back mildly because you're right. LeBron threw down the points that put him up 101-100. Drew Holiday won that game for Team USA. Drew Holiday won that game.
LeBron could have missed.
LeBron could have missed. Well, not really. He was 1-on-1 on a breakaway. If he missed that, it would have been the most embarrassing miss of his career.
Well, he's missed those before. Early on in his career, it was LeBron doesn't want to take the shot to win the game. He never don't forget about it. Michael Jordan would never pass it. All that stuff. So LeBron had to come in and do what he does to make sure. Look at that. It's on TV right now too. And it's LeBron's not going to let them let them lose this gold medal.
I will say this. After having gone back and watched that game on replay, I would like to think, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. This is Rob Brown being an optimist, Lonzo. This is Rob Brown trying to find the silver lining on what was otherwise a very rainy day for Team USA. The silver lining to me, the most optimistic viewpoint I'm going to take is this. The game against Australia was a challenge. The game against Canada, not all that much of a challenge. We did pretty well, all right? We played pretty good basketball. We had like 2 days of practice at that point. It kind of is what it is. The game against Australia was a game that I thought was the best competition we were going to have leading up to the Olympics this year, right? Like I thought it was the best game, and I don't think it was. It was the best game. It was the best team that we were going to play leading up to the Olympics. That's a team that went 5 NBAers across the starting 5. Now, again, still shouldn't be competition. We got 12 guys on the roster. They're all 12 NBAers, a couple of them that won an NBA title this year. We should be fine. The Sudanese have none. All right. That was not even a glorified college team. It was like an average college team at the absolute best we were up there against. So what I'm going to hope here, great one, and tell me if I am trying to float myself up on a cloud that does not exist. My theory here is going to be, I hope, that the Americans had that game where they think they're just going to walk out there carrying an American flag and win by the 50 that they were favored by. It was just the first game because Canada, they came out and they played cohesively and well. Australia, they came out, they played cohesively and they played well. Serbia against Nikola Jokic, they came out, they played consistently and they played well. They came out against the South Sudanese. It was not cohesive. It was not consistent. It was up and down. And you got to give the Sudanese credit because they were lighting the bottom of the net up, dude. Like they were stroking shots all day long. It was a phenomenal basketball game from them because that's their Super Bowl, right? Like you're out there against people that even if you live in South Sudan, you know who the hell LeBron James is and why. They brought the best game of their lives together to play Team USA. And they almost sniped us, and it took Drew Holiday on a miracle save of a steal and LeBron to knock that shot down to wrap it up to win this thing. What I'd like to hope for optimistically, though, is that was the slap in the face, the punch in the mouth, the kick to the groin that made this team go, oh.
All right.
We got to get this right.
All right. So first of all, you said something about a cloud, and now I can't get this out of my head. I'm picturing Rob Brown surfing on the chemtrail, and it's an amazing thought. The second thing, and this is going to be really controversial because I know you're in North Carolina, and this guy probably means a lot to people in North Carolina. This is all Steph Curry's fault. Listen, Steph Curry let them down. He needs to step it up. He needs to quit playing lackadaisical. He needs to come out there with some intensity because where he goes, so does a lot of the team. He's carrying the younger teammates. They're looking to him for leadership, and he's just not showing it. So put the binky in, buckle down, and show some intensity and make some shots, Steph. So LeBron doesn't have to come along and save everybody.
Yep, for sure. That's exactly what I was thinking.
By the way, if you are good at Photoshop, please send me Rob Brown surfing on the chemtrail because I want that.
I'm just gonna go with.
You trying to look up and see how many points Steph had?
No, I'm not because I know it wasn't a great game from Steph.
Right. It was not.
I'm also gonna go.
You ain't there on it. This is a business trip, Steph. A business trip.
Steph Curry was 3 of 10, 3 of 9 from deep. Good for a 33 and a third percent three-point shooting percentage. He was 1 of 2 from the stripe. He had 3 boards, 3 assists, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, and just 1 personal foul.
Slacker, man.
Here's what I'm going to say. As much as I want to push back, you're right. This was the worst game we've seen out of Steph Curry so far in this run. And Steph Curry, as one of 3 guys who has started all 4 games so far, LeBron, Joel Embiid, and Steph Curry.
By the way, how's your Kevin Durant prediction going so far? Told you wouldn't play. He ain't going to play at all.
He is going to play in the Olympics. There's no way he doesn't. All right?
Should have gave that spot up to someone who might actually put some points on the board.
Durant's going to play, not only play, he's going to be rested and healthy. He's going to dominate in the Olympics. Book me right now. You can clip that and hold me to it. So, this team played the least cohesive basketball I've watched. They went up against the South, and for the record, South Sudanese, they're the tallest team internationally that we will play. They have length. They are one of the few teams that we will play that has good length, that has good height, that can make underneath the basket a tougher area to score. Now, here's where I'm worried. It's not the South Sudanese, because, again, I think that was a slap in the teeth. Sometimes you got to get slapped in the mouth. Sometimes you got to get fired. Sometimes you got to get dumped. Sometimes you got to get emotionally wrecked before you look and you learn from a situation. And this is a team that all the things we're talking about had still only been together a week and a half when they played this game. I think that was the punch in the mouth, the kick to the rocks that they needed to go, okay, we got to get our bleep together in order for this to happen. There is one concern I have. The one concern I have now is France. The one concern I have is France, a team that has Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama both playing for it. The one team I am concerned for is the team that is capable of doing to us what the South Sudanese did to us in this game. That is, put height around the basket, take away the dribble drive, penetrate, mid-range jumper. You're going to have to play outside-in basketball, and it is going to put pressure on Joel Embiid to act as a distributor and a collector more than a guy who's just going to throw it back to the basket and go up for easy up and under bunnies. He's going to have to be a distributor as much as he's going to be a scorer. I know Joel Embiid can do that, but it's not an option if and when we line up against France. We are minus 500 to win the gold medal in the Olympics. I'm not betting on it, not because I don't think it's going to happen, but because there's just not great value there to do it. What I am going to say is I don't know if I think we're that big of a favorite anymore. Again, I hope we got punched in the mouth. I hope LeBron, because LeBron has, we can agree on this, Lonzo, I think. LeBron has clearly established himself as the voice of this basketball team, right? Like every post-game meeting at center court, LeBron's calling him over. LeBron's leading the meetings. LeBron told Kevin Durant after the last two games, if you want to be in this meeting, go over there and hit a shot so that you do something before you're in this meeting. I think we all agree LeBron has separated himself as the voice of this basketball team, and that's great. He should be. But I'm going to need the rest of these boys to get it together. All I can say is this as we go to break, Zoe. I hope this was a kick to the rocks that gets them on the same page, because if we play like that against France, we're losing. We play like that against Serbia when they have their full lineup, we're losing. We play like that against Italy, we're losing.
All I got to say is bench Steph Curry. Put his butt on the pine.
You know, I got to say, I'm glad they don't bench me after one bad performance, because I'd have had a lot more days off. Hey, we got to run to a break. Would you look at that? When we come back here in just a minute, we got a little more college football to talk. Let's talk a little ACC. Let's talk a little bit about the predicted order of finish for this lovely conference, which we are covering today in Charlotte, North Carolina at ACC Kickoff. The great Malonzo back in the studio. I am Rob Brown. You are listening to the Fan Upstate.
Your AM adrenaline rush. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan.
Upstate.
I'm going to the
From
restroom.
News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center. Here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan.
$59.86. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Had a devastating knee injury, tore my ACL, tore my PCL, shredded my medial meniscus, and had an initial surgery. That really didn't hold. Had another follow-up surgery around 8 years
Giving
later.
Rashad a call.
Another surgical procedure.
Enough with the surgeries. They didn't ease the pain and recovery was brutal. Carmen heard about another treatment for pain relief. The non-invasive regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
I simply figured, heck, I'm going to pick up the phone and call QC Kinetics. And since I've been treated, my
wrote him about tweeted or GM Shy, never heard back from him. So I texted Brody and I'm like, yo, I don't care that he missed the segment. Like, I just want to make sure Rashad's good. And he wrote me back. He's like, actually, I haven't heard from him for a couple of days either. And then Brody DM'd me back a little while later and was like, he's good, he's busy. I'm like, all right, but I haven't heard from him. So I might drop him one.
When you're out of town on business,
yeah,
and doing what he does, yeah, the spy game. You can't be going, oh, my bad. You just got to wait till he gets back. He gets back, he puts all the watches and you know and the things away. Yeah.
There's a little tour package that starts at $1,800.
So you're not going to try to get Diesel and Cole to hang around and the trio hit some spots?
Well, Cole wanted to stick around and have a couple of drinks after the show. Diesel's like, I don't want to go home. So we'll see.
Hey, he's wearing glasses now. He just hit 40.
I had lunch with him the other day and he showed up in a freaking knee, like one of those copper bit knee sleeve things. And I'm like,
oh no.
What's happening?
Oh no.
You're wearing glasses. You got to wear sleeves on your joints now. I'm like, are you going home to take a bath at Ben Gay?
Are you scared? Are you scared that that's going to hit you when 40 hits?
No, I got to tell you, dude, like, I know I'm starting, like, I'm feeling the aging thing, but, like, all my joints work. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't woke up one day and be like, I need an old man Allen Iverson sleeve.
I can make all these jokes because I've been old for a while. So, I mean, there's that. 30 seconds. Oh, there you go.
Because you and I were doing the show. We were. It was just you and me in here. And, I told you to, like, when you're up, take it off. I'll talk. I'll be fine. I could do it to you. I would have helped you out. I just would have wanted a percentage of the winnings. That's all.
Got to hit up Willie P. and maybe is there no soccer going on now?
Sound off on the text line.
At 71307.
Keyword fan.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Only on the Fan.
Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate, live in Charlotte, North Carolina, the site of the ACC football kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days, going down right now. I will let you know that we've got a lot of stuff that is happening over the next few days. We have got today Florida State, Georgia Tech, and SMU, as well as coming up at 1 p.m. today, Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, will give the commissioner's address. That is at 1 o'clock. I will attempt to go live from the commissioner's speech today. I will tell you for sure that I will be recording that speech. I will pull the significant clips out and I will play them for you on tomorrow's show, as well as try to post highlights for you throughout the speech as they are happening. What I will tell you to do, if you're not already following on Twitter, go to twitter.com/thefanupstate. Give us a follow there. I would also tell you to shoot us a like on Facebook, as well as I will be manning the social media pages during the course of the commissioner's address. We will have some recorded interviews with players and coaches from the teams today. Some of those will go exclusively to social media. Some of those will be broadcast this afternoon on Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel, and some of those will be put into the can for tomorrow's show. I will tell you that this afternoon. We'll also be talking to media members from all of the different schools that are here in attendance, specifically the ones that are on the Clemson Tiger football schedule for the remainder of the year. So I will start by telling you we will be speaking this afternoon with Ben London. Ben London represents the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, and primarily because I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous because Brent Key, the head coach of the Ramblin' Wreck, will be joining Diesel and Cole on Wire to Wire. That's one of the interviews that got scheduled live. And here's what I'm going to say. Nobody rocks a suit like Brent Key. Nobody. My man showed up last year, his first ACC Media Day, to do our interview. And dude showed up in like the Euro cut with like the over the ankle tight Euro pants and the vest and the suit. Like he rolled over and I was like, bro, are you here to coach college football or are you here to get a contract in GQ, man? Like what a vibe that guy was putting out. And then on top of that, just a great interview. Like I am a big Brent Key guy. Like Brent Key has me pulling for the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech to do well because he's one of those cats. Lonzo, you know how every now and then you do an interview with a coach. Like we do interviews with coaches and players all the time. And like most of them, you're like, all right, coach, all right, coach, all right, coach, all right, coach. Brent Key's in that short list of coaches that we as media guys, like you can't help but like him. You kind of can't help but you get done with that interview and go, I'd play for that guy. I'd lay it on the line for Brent Key.
Oh, without a doubt. I love those kind of interviews because usually when we're done off the air, we're like, man, that was good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah. Every now and then there's one of those that the guy walks away from the table and after they're out of earshot, Zoe and I are both like, dude, that was awesome. That was so cool. That guy's just cool. Like we turn into Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live. Remember when we interviewed Brent Key? That was cool. That was awesome. Texter said, Rob, WTF is with the voice inflection, serious business, the voice inflection wine. Color me concerned. Couple that with your adoration for the word venue stated 93 times is obviously symptomatic of level 4 hyper OCD. So for my own state of mind, I just phoned in a wellness check to the local PD to make sure you're okay. May have suggested a 24-hour assessment. Better safe than sorry. You know, Zoe.
You are talking differently. You've been talking differently the entire show. It's like you
define that for
all
me.
Right. You're trying to be fancy. I'm Rob Brown.
You know what it is?
It's like you're trying to keep it. You're scared of ACC Karen. We all know that. We get it. Okay. You ain't fooling nobody. You're scared that she's going to come down from the maybe Sting like from the balcony to take you out if you get too loud.
There are windows above us. I think that there are two things at play. The first is, and you, for whatever reason, do not accept this because I think I've said it every year. Actually, I think I've said it every time that we have gone out in public. I do try to be courteous to my fellow coworkers in attendance here because I'm not the only one. And business has picked up. There's a few more shows that are going on now as we speak and recordings going on as we speak. So I try my best to be courteous to my fellow media members.
Try my best. I'm Rob Brown.
The options are that or this.
Yes, we prefer that.
I know you prefer this. Because people from Virginia Talk Radio Network that are one table over from me and trying to cut a promo right now clearly don't.
That boy daggum loud. I found keeper down.
Now, not to say who is or is not stationed at the tables to my left and to my right. But I will tell you, when those tables start recording, I'll probably pick up the volume just a bit. All right? We're not saying who it is. All right? It might be 99.9 The Fan. It might be Fox Sports Charlotte. Maybe it's 7:30 The Game, ESPN Charlotte, the Louisville Courier Journal.
I don't know, dude. We've got a stray cat in here. We got a stray cat in the studio. You're not here. I've been trying to get the thing out. I don't know what's going on.
Richmond, Sports Business Journal, War Chant. They're all up in WVFT 93.3 FM. It could be any of those that are to my left and right. I'm just saying when the broadcast,
or it could be a station that reminds me of a Katy Perry song with all its ferocity.
Baby, you're a fire.
Yeah, that's not the one.
I'm aware. All right. So we're talking ACC ball here on the radio broadcast. We have kind of been a little bit all over the place. Hey, Wednesday night, I got to tell you, I'm going to see Creed, but T-Pain is doing the Mansion in Wisconsin tour here in Charlotte. I could be talked into it.
Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah.
Mansion
so
in
there was
Wisconsin?
a song a number of years ago where he rhymed the word mansion with Wisconsin, and everybody like gave him crap about it for a long time because those words don't rhyme.
I've never had that problem where people have made fun of me saying something rhymes. And by the way, on a very famous promo here on the station, I pointed out that in rap, everything rhymes. It's just about how you say it. And that is my proof.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Let's see. What's tomorrow? Oh, I'll be at Creed tomorrow, but Third Eye Blind is playing here tomorrow. Oh, I'm seeing them with Creed, too. What am I worried about? We got anything else? Oh, we just missed it, Lonzo. The Janet Jackson Together Again tour just came through Charlotte.
Who's she together with?
I miss Janet Jackson.
Yeah, but it's a Together Again tour. She must be with some other people.
I was joking about it. Nelly.
That's who she's with?
100% would have gone to see Nelly and Janet Jackson
all
in
right.
one show.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Do they still dance? I mean, in their concerts? No, I mean they're getting older too, and they may not do the dancing thing anymore.
You can still bust a move, right?
Oh, you'll see Tuesday night.
Bust a move. All right. College football, as we are wrapping up, I'm assuming very close to the end of this particular segment that I have now officially wasted.
You're basically saying you don't have a clock in front of you? Is that what you're saying?
It's on my phone, but I had moved my phone and I forgot where I moved it to. But I found it. Don't worry.
Where's my phone? I can't find it.
I got this is a target-rich environment. I got a lot going on around here. All right, Ghost Rider? Like, we're dealing with it as we go. You threw me off with my "you're talking different" thing. So
no, the texter pointed that out. I wasn't going to say anything about it. I've noticed the entire show, but the texter pointed out, and they're absolutely correct.
Well, I appreciate you calling in the 24-hour well-being watch.
Yeah, because we want Rob to be Rob, not whatever that thing is. I mean,
again, man, like I gotta have some level of consideration for the people working.
You ain't fancy. We know who you are. Come on.
I did work with a guy once who he would have driven you crazy, Zoe, because he changes his like entire inflection when he goes on the radio. Like he's just a normal dude, and then he goes on the radio and is like, "All right, welcome to the show." And I'm like, "Dude, who the hell are you? Who are you, bro? What are we doing?"
Stop making fun of Cole.
Nah, it's not Cole. It's not Cole. Texter said, "Hey, we get it, Rob. You showed up for work on time, a rare occurrence because it's ACC Media Days, and you were expecting top shelf liquor and high dollar hookers. No, I'm not. All right. I was making the point that I make sacrifices for you, the Armada. And what do I get in return from the Armada but jokes and accusations? Unbelievable.
I'm sorry I'm not there to get you your water. Okay.
I need a guy. I'm the only guy. Cole and Diesel are going to roll up here at 2:00. And until then, I'm the only guy. You know, I need a guy. I need a water guy. Let's see. Texter said, for God's sake, do not pull another bathroom floor banana brunch at that particular Marriott. You understand that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I wasn't the one going potassium off the pooper floor, right? Like that wasn't me. I witnessed the banana. I did not partake in the banana. What are we doing? Texter said, I got to go back and find this one. All right, I can't read. I can't read that one. Texter said, Rob, is NFL fandom split 50-50 between Carolina and Atlanta? That's a fair question, Lonzo. You've been here a lot longer than me. What do you think about that? Is NFL fandom split 50-50 between Carolina and Atlanta in Atlanta?
Okay, so you missed the bed entirely. So I'm just going to go with a different bed because I can't find the same bed.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess I didn't play it loud enough. Let's try this. That's the wrong thing.
That's not right either. Tell you what, let's go to a break. When we come back, we will wrap up the show. Do have some NFL news and notes. I hear it now that we got to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about ACC Media Days, let you guys know what the rest of the week shapes up like. And then we will call it a day and prep for the commissioner's speech that is coming up this afternoon. We are coming back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Hey, what's up? This is WWE Superstar R-Truth, and you're listening to your home for pro wrestling talk in the upstate, the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. That's what's up.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by
Cardinals beat the Braves 6-2 on Sunday. Miles Michaels improves to 8-8 with the win. Spencer Schwellenbach suffered the loss. He's 35. Paul Goldschmidt hit one of 4 Cardinal home runs in the game. Cards DH Alec Burleson had a homer and 2 RBI. Lars Nootbaar and Wilson Contreras also went deep. Jared Kelnick hit a homer for the Braves. Atlanta second baseman Ozzie Albies will be out at least 8 weeks after suffering a left wrist fracture. NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday. Kyle Larson took the checkered flag at the Brickyard 400. He bested Ryan Blaney on the second overtime restart. 2 months after Xander Schauffele captured his first major championship win at the PGA Championship at Valhalla, he added a second one Sunday at the 152nd Open Championship at Royal Troon Golf Club. ACC Media Days start Monday in Charlotte. Clemson's up on Thursday. Bundle Auto and Home.
So he is having a little trouble hearing, and because of that, he didn't hear the bed. I should have made the bed louder. So one of the things I usually do, hopefully you don't notice, is when he out talks the bed, I will put the same bed in and just crossfade it. But I could not do it that time because I couldn't find it. So, couldn't crossfade. Crossfading is it's a skill, a talent. You all right? Where'd you go?
Well, 2 things. Number one, we used to obviously be right by the TV set. So, like, the players and coaches and personalities, they were always just kind of like walking around in the media pit. And this year, the media pit is way away from TV and everything, so they're not that. So whenever like, I saw Wes Durham walking by earlier. Remind me, I got to tell you a story after we go off the stream about that. But when I'm seeing the ACC media people walking by, basically I'm just trying to grab them and be like, hey, if you get a chance to come by down later, I'd love to get you on the show. Well, this year, the ACC is scheduling everybody, including the TV and radio personalities. So I'm like trying to talk to them.
Total control. I'm sorry you can't hear Rob, Wesley. You're not missing anything, though. I mean, it's not. 30 seconds, by the way. Hopefully we'll have that part fixed tomorrow. So.
Which I'm too lazy to do. But tomorrow, not that they can hear me saying this, the only person who can hear me saying this is the only person who doesn't matter in this conversation long term.
Wow.
Well, I don't mean doesn't matter. I mean, you can hear me.
Hey, listen, damage done. Okay. Daily damage. I don't even know what you just said.
Punch your ticket to the best local sports. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
Upstate.
Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show.
Only on the Fan.
The Fan.
Upstate.
That I'm just a bad person. I've come to the conclusion that I am a bad person. And I'll tell you why. For those of you not watching on the stream, for those of you that you may have noticed at this point. They put me and our table here at the Fan Upstate, myself, Cole, and Diesel. Wire to Wire will be live from ACC Media Days this afternoon as well. They put us on the back row, and so our back is to a walkway that goes from the primary door of the hotel over to the escalator that goes up to where the majority of the Media Day festivities are taking place. And on the ground behind me, they had to run a power strip from the wall. Watch your step. That's what we're talking about. The power strip from the wall over here into the media pit. And they put on top of it like a little rubber casing, like a little rubber piece.
By the way, you helping one person doesn't all the other people you've laughed watching.
I couldn't watch. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
So what's happened is this rubber thing. It sticks up like 2 or 3 inches, and then it's about 6 inches wide, and so it makes like this little dome thing on the ground. And I have been watching people because I'm facing away from it. I've been watching people eat bleep on this thing all morning long. And like, I'm trying to warn people when I'm turning back the other way. But at the same time, I may or may not have set up the stream camera to where it's in the frame so I can watch it on my computer while I'm doing the stream.
Oh, and when you get up and leave, that's exclusively what I'm watching for. I mean, you know.
I am going to say it's probably provided more entertainment on the stream than I have so far. So, like, when I'm not on the air, I'm like, hey, watch out, you know, whatever. But I've watched a couple of people eat it. So far, nobody all the way to the ground. I am calling the shot. Somebody's going to the ground before this day's over.
Do not warn Diesel or Cole.
Not at all.
Yeah, don't let them know about it.
Not at all. In fact, I'm gonna have them come around to the far door this way so that they have to walk over. Because if they come in the door I came in, they won't even get close to it. I'm gonna try to get them to come this way. All right, wrap it up. Last segment of the radio broadcast here on Monday morning. Again, Jim Phillips, commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, will be speaking today at 1 p.m. I will do my darndest to be live for that event. If we cannot stream it live to you, which basically is going to come down to, can I provide sound? If I can find a way to provide sound that is adequate for you guys, then I'll stream it live. If I cannot, then what I'll do is I will find a way or I won't find a way. I have a way. I will get the sound from the major parts of Philip's speech, and we will take a look at and evaluate those tomorrow. Teams here today. Brent Key and his Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck are going to be here. The SMU Mustang Horsies are going to be here today under head coach Rhett Lashley, and Mike Norvell and the Seminoles of Florida State will be talking here today as well. We do have a schedule of players that we are going to be getting throughout the day that will be finalized to us here in 18 minutes when we go off the air. So we will let you know who we've got and when those interviews are going to be aired later on today. So stay tuned to the Fan Upstate social media pages over the next couple of days as we bring you as much coverage of ACC Media Days as we possibly can. What else did we want to get to on the show? I know we talked a little bit of ACC ball earlier in the show. We can keep going down that path. Oh, we had a question that ended the last segment, and I will all I can tell you is what I've seen in the 4 years I've been here. I'll get Lonzo's impression as well, but we did have a texter talking NFL ball as training camps are underway across America. Aaron Rodgers and his New York Jets showed up to camp yesterday. The Houston Texans under C.J. Stroud and the Kansas City Chiefs under Patrick Mahomes started their camps middle of last week. The majority of NFL camps are officially underway, and we will talk some NFL ball as the week progresses as well.
Hey, Rob,
yes, sir.
Xavier Worthy, that boy fast.
He is quick, Jack. We knew he was going to be fast, all right? There was a video that went around of Patty Mahomes linking up with Xavier Worthy for a deep ball tutty that Lonzo sent to me in a Twitter DM, and I'm pretty sure Lonzo was having inappropriate thoughts about what his football team is going to look like this year with Xavier Worthy taking the top off the defense.
No, I was just pointing out your disrespect about the receiving core. That's all. That's all I was doing.
It's not disrespect. I think it's going to be an okay receiving core. I just think it's going to be dependent on how good Xavier Worthy is. If that dude can do that, you're going to be real good. Here is something that got brought up. And so I'm glad you brought this up. I heard a host talking about this a couple days ago, and we'll close the show out with this. Is there, active in the NFL today, aside from Andy Reid, Lonzo, is there another head coach that feels like a Hall of Fame head coach right now? Is there another coach that we look at and go, that's a great head coach? Because I feel like Shanahan's close. I don't feel, honestly.
Is he close, though? I mean, what's he done as a head coach?
I mean, he's gone to a couple of Super Bowls. He hadn't won one yet, but he's been there.
True.
So I'm going to say if Shanahan can,
there's somebody who was in Carolina who went to a couple of Super Bowls too. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Fair.
I mean,
very fair. Ron Rivera, Rivera's not in coaching now. We talk about the necessity.
There you go. Max says Mike Tomlin. You're right. Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin's done. I would say Mike Tomlin's probably as close as you're going to get. But like, as of right now,
I mean, would you throw Harbaugh in there? I don't know.
For the same reason.
Talking about Ravens Harbaugh, not
yeah,
the other one.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh, again, been to a Super Bowl, lost to his brother. His brother does have a ring. His brother is, I'm going to say Harbaugh is with Tomlin in that, like, next closest group, right? Because Tomlin's got wins, never had a losing season. Jim Harbaugh's got a ring. Baltimore, I mean, when's the last time Baltimore didn't feel like a preseason contender at the very least? Like, I'm going to say he's very, very close. But I'm going to say right now, the only active coach that's like, that guy's a Hall of Fame lock is Andy Reid. And outside of that, I feel like we got and again, I'll even go one step further. Let's say John Harbaugh. Let's say Mike Tomlin. Who's next? Sean Payton's not in that group anymore after what I'm seeing in Denver, right? Like, who's the next coach? I'll tell you one guy that I think is going to rapidly accelerate into that group. I think DeMeco Ryan's going to be in that group sooner rather than later, Lonzo, with what he's doing with the Texans, because I'd run through a wall for that guy. The Brent Key discussion is what triggered me into this. But I like DeMeco Ryan. He's not in that group yet. He might be at the end of this year if Houston wins that division again. But, man, like when we've talked about Finn at quarterback, Finn at wide receiver for different teams in different divisions, I got to tell you, man, like it doesn't feel like we're in the midst of a golden era of NFL head coaching right now. And we all know coaching is every bit as important as quarterback.
All right. Wesley says Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll's not coaching right now.
He's not. Yeah. So the guys who are coaching now, you've got to coach for a while, don't you? Unless you come in and win 5 Super Bowls in a row and then you're done, you have to coach for a while in order for anyone to probably consider you.
I think that's unfair. All right, so let's just because I'm curious, stop me if we get to one that you think is even close to the list. John Gannon, first year guy or second year guy, Raheem Morris, John Harbaugh, I would say is close.
Close, yeah.
Sean McDermott in Buffalo should be close, but they keep blowing it. I can't put him there. Dave Canales, Matt Eberflus, Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, Kevin Stefanski with Cleveland. Those are 2 guys that I could see one day being in that group. They're not there yet. Mike McCarthy, can't put him in the group. Sean Payton's got a Lombardi, can't put him in the group. Dan Campbell in Detroit, is he close? I'd say he's in the close group.
But they may put him in just because a speech would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. DeMeco Ryans, I think he's close to DeMeco Ryans. Shane Steichen in Indy, he could be close. If Indy fights Houston for the division, he could be close. Doug Peterson in Jacksonville got a ring. Can't say he's in that mix right now. We'll see what Jacksonville does. Andy Reid is the only one. Antonio Pierce, no idea. Jim Harbaugh, no idea. Sean McVay. Sean McVay's got a ring. Sean McVay had the LA Rams as a dynamite team for a couple of years. Sean McVay's Rams were expected to stink a couple of times, but they've been a playoff contender right there on the edge. Is Sean McVay in that close group, Lonzo?
I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree. Mike McDaniel, I'm going to put him in the might be close to being close group. Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, not there yet. Gerard Mayo, first-year guy. Dennis Allen, fist fight on site. Brian Daboll with the Giants, absolutely not. Robert Saleh with the Jets, absolutely not. Nick Sirianni, no. Mike Tomlin, I'm going to say close. Kyle Shanahan, I'm going to say if he gets back to the Super Bowl this year, even if they don't win it, I'm going to put him in, Lonzo, but I'm going to put him in only because if they don't win it this year, they don't win it because Andy Reid gets them again. And if you lose to Andy Reid 2 or 3 or 4 times, I'm going to go, you coach in any other era, you'd have won a Super Bowl. Is that too much credit to Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, but if you can't beat the other guy, that's how that works.
I heard a phrase once that if you want people to call the man, you have to do something. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think Mark Ryan said it. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. I think that's a Mark Ryan saying.
I think it is. Mike McDonald in Seattle, first-year guy. Todd Bowles in Tampa, nope. Brian Callahan in Tennessee, absolutely not. First-year guy anyway. And Dan Quinn in Washington. I'm going to say there is one guy on top, and it's Andy Reid. I'm going to say in that second tier is Shanahan, Tomlin, McVay, and that's it.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
I think all those. I think you're right about all those.
That's about the best I can come up with.
Yeah. All right. Time to ask Rob what is Xing yo, and even in Charlotte, he's going to know because that guy just walked across there smoothly like there was nothing there.
Man,
and then the next guy almost bought it.
Couple of guys.
Oh, that was close. My dude almost went. See what it is? They're hearing your voice is a distraction, and so they're looking at you, and they're not paying attention to the floor. So technically, it's your fault.
My fault.
All right, the first thing that's Xing is Bobby Lashley.
I'm going to be straight up with you. While I am excited because I may actually get to watch Monday Night Raw tonight, I have not checked in. I am still catching up with last week's Raw. Way behind, no idea.
All right, Lashley hasn't been on TV for a while, so his contract is about to be up.
Interesting. We've kind of fallen into the pattern now where if a dude disappears for 3, 4, 5 weeks and then the contract comes up, they don't come back. Whereas if they're planning on coming back, they'll kind of keep him in the mix. But my question is, where, like Bobby, even as an AEW guy, is Bobby Lashley's not an AEW guy, is he?
Well, the speculation is he'll go back to TNA because apparently he was a TNA Impact guy.
He is, and that's fair, especially considering I think TKO, which owns WWE now, I think TKO is buying TNA. I think they are buying that company, and they are going to fold them in, and we're going to have basically 3 levels. We'll have TNA, we'll have NXT. Those will be the 2 developmental leagues, and then WWE. Lashley going down there to kind of be like the final boss of TNA would be great.
Yeah, it would be. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is trending because Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh have said that they are taking the, stop me if you've heard this particular vinyl before, the disrespect to Lamar's game very personally, saying that they plan on anticipate on using it as fuel to drive the Baltimore Ravens this year. I don't know who the hell's disrespecting Lamar Jackson, but sometimes you got to make up the boogeyman.
Here's the problem. When you're trying to take disrespect and use that as motivation, that's disrespectful to the Kansas City Chiefs. It is, because they took disrespect first and used it as motivation, so no one else can use it until they're done with it. Until they're done with it.
So by saying that they are going to take the disrespect to make the Baltimore Ravens better, they have made the Kansas City Chiefs better.
They have. All right.
Out.
The next thing that's Xing is Hologram.
Hologram is a wrestler who made his debut for AEW, and I'm going to tell you, great one, I am going to put it up there. As much as I adore AEW, cannot wait to go see them in person next week. While I adore that company and I love that company because it is a wrestler's wrestling company, I was underwhelmed.
All right, so here's the thing. The speculation is that might actually be Ricochet, but there's also speculation that it's not Ricochet and they're swerving.
That never once occurred to me.
Wow.
That never once occurred to me.
Well, I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I swear to you, Scouts
Really?
Honor, like that
Really?
never once, I never once was like, is that Ricochet? Because he was covered up to where you wouldn't have been able to identify him. But I will say this, he wrestled a much more lucha libre style match than Ricochet did at WWE. But when he was Prince Puma in, what was it? The Lucha, what was the name of that company?
Lucha Underground?
Yeah, when he was with Lucha Underground as Prince Puma, he wrestled a very Lucha style. So that never clicked. It might have been him. I kind of hope it is.
I don't know. I hope they're swerving and it's not him.
We'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen,
we'll ask somebody next week when we have them live on the air. We'll do that.
Yes, we will. That's going to do it for us. We are live at ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. Follow us up on all our socials at The Fan Upstate on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. I'll be going live and doing stuff. I got the boys from SMU right over here to my left getting set for their press conferences. We'll have some recorded interviews for you that we will play tomorrow. That is all coming up when we return live from Charlotte, North Carolina, and ACC Media Days. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. See you back here tomorrow on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate. Later.
Real sports talk, real sports fans.
All right, there's
is the sports voice of.
There's more proof you're not being Rob Brown today. You didn't, We all didn't hear it, and you purposefully didn't do it. So?
I'm not trying to ruin that guy's moment. If he's like, if this is his chance to prove that he deserves a spot in this field, I'm not going to scream over his demo.
Hey, you got to learn, man. You've got to learn that sometimes you're going to be out in a place where you're going to have to deal with those sort of things. So you're doing him a disservice by not being Rob Brown.
Oh, man.
I speak for the people. They want you to be you, man. See? Max, like, where's the yeah?
Still can't do it.
You should stand up and do it at like full-throated to the entire area.
I don't give in to peer pressure.
Oh, this ain't about peer pressure. It's about you being you, man.
Do not give in to peer pressure.
How do we know that this Rob Brown isn't the Rob Brown that's going to return to us? We don't want that Rob Brown.
Did it last year? Was that guy last year?
No, you weren't like this last year.
Yes, I absolutely.
Oh, no, you were
We had
not.
a whole conversation about
Dude,
year.
you have developed a voice for this. It was
That is true. I have developed a voice.
yes, you did not use this voice last year.
It's a smaller room, dude. Like there's less like it's not cavernous like it was last year.
Rob Brown, you need to take advantage of the acoustics. Them acoustics are good. You need to let that thing go.
All right, we got stuff starting up here in 4 minutes, so I gotta go teach myself how to use this microphone. That's gonna be it for me. Make sure you follow me at the Rob Brown Show on all the things. I thought about leaving the stream. Should we leave the stream up and just leave strip bar cam running for the rest of the day?
You know, that would be great, but I think that would be frowned upon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. I don't know why I'm saying that. I said it on the radio. Goodbye.